The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at netsn.live.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome. Beast from the East is back. And who is that guy? It's Joe Scared Peoples. He is back this week with a bag on his head. Also joining us back this week, the Mr. Red Zone, K.O. Kyle Owens, and we talked about him a little bit last week on the show. Where's Larry going to be? He's always somewhere, but he's here with us this week. Larry Pierce.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
We just, we always, it's kind of like our joke here with us up here is like, where's Larry? Like, where's Waldo? Because you're always somewhere different every week. So we never know where you're going to show up. The schools never know where you're going to be, but always covering somebody. And that's a nice hat, Larry. It's
yeah. I just got this one. I'm trying to keep the sweat stains off of it, so I changed it out.
It's a brand new edition. I like it.
That's the game hat right there.
Okay, all
that's
right.
Broadcast hat right there.
So you're ready to go today. Well, guys,
me and Jaron are the backwards hat boys. Y'all are the NetSM boys. Me and Jaron are the backwards hat boys.
Okay.
They're the cool guys.
I like it.
Jaron was the paper bag boy there for a minute, though.
That was awesome.
I do like the paper bag. Yeah, I did catch part of the show where they were giving you a hard time about that, Jaron. And I understand why the bag, man. But hey, go with your heart, brother. Whatever, man. I'm behind you. Man.
What's free press these days? Yeah, I mean, come on.
Welcome this week, Larry. Thanks for joining us. And guys, how's it going since the last show, Jaron? You still are surviving? No, I mean, you haven't been like threatened by anyone yet.
No, house hasn't been burned down yet, and really, if you look on Smokey and some of the other forums, I didn't get no heat. Some other folks did.
Yeah,
but,
Kyle took a little bit of a rip from his boy Jake over there. He was down on you for not picking. Hey, he was like thanking me for picking Lindale high, and he was saying something to Kyle. I was like, man, I'm gonna stay out of this.
Listen, Jaron, you were talking about earlier, the media has to spin a narrative. Old Jake right there spinning a narrative. There's no narrative going on here with me where it's a preseason ranking, and listen, mine was not near as egregious as yours. We're comparing apples and oranges here. All right, brother. I mean, you picked the team that made it to the regional semis last year at 15. All right. So,
Cal, the year before, what'd they do?
I believe they made it to the state championship game.
Hey, the year before, what'd they do?
Was the state semifinals, I believe.
And the year before, they did what?
Brisbane and Ricky Stewart
state semifinals again, or state championship. One of them. I know they've played a lot of football.
Generational talent, with Brisbane and Stewart.
I would guess there's not a whole lot of teams that have played as many games in the last 5 years as the Chapel Hill Bulldogs. I would just.
In 5 years, no, but I do have a team that has played a ton of football in 3 years.
Oh, hey, it's a nice shirt you got. We might be talking about them here shortly, but guys, we got a lot coming up. Just to kind of let everyone know what we've been doing here. Last week we had our big school show. If you haven't caught that yet, go back and watch it. You'll know kind of what we were talking about there, about the whole poll discussion that we're
done. It's okay.
No, definitely.
And the one thing
go watch it.
One thing I have to get there is, man, I know that I'm the newbie here. I've only been around here about 3 or 4 years and still working on some things. I'm figuring it out. But you guys had, I noticed that we have Carthage at number 1 of the 6-5-4. And I'm like, dude, I can understand it. I have nothing against taking anything from the Bulldogs. I believe they're going to be dominant again. But I don't know. I mean, to have them at the top, even above 6A schools, I'm just kind of curious. But I wouldn't. I'm not taking it away from saying Daniel's wrong.
We
just kind of curious.
Thought,
ended up that way.
Well, you just thought as a center guy, you might not want to pick Carthage because that's kind of a little, rivalry.
I have no hunt in that game. I love the center Rough Riders. Don't get me wrong. The guys do. I do like the Rough Riders and everything, but I don't have that thing there like they do. I have a lot of respect for the Bulldogs, and I have no doubt, knowing what they got coming this year, that if they don't bring home a trophy, it's going to be, But, I just saw that, and I was like, wow, put them up there at the top. I can agree with it. It did surprise me. I just didn't expect it.
But when you guys start putting rings on toes, I don't care what size you are.
It's kind of hard to say, you can probably play against anybody. That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I love about I have some friends in Oklahoma and Kansas that just think that they've got some squads there that are 6A squads or just this, that, and the other. And I said, I'll put a 4A squad up there to spank you all day long if you want to. They just don't believe it.
Yeah. That's just it's different.
Larry, I went to college in Kansas, and when my first year there, we were in Salina, and we watched Salina Central against Salina South. Thought it was a big rivalry, right? And they're supposed to be the big schools there. Brother, it was like watching some bad 2A football in Texas. Like it's completely different.
Totally different.
No disrespect, Kansas. Sorry.
It is. I don't disrespect none of the kids up there. They're doing their thing. But, man, it's a different breed of ball. That's one thing I loved about coming back home and getting the chance to say that you can call football in Texas. I mean, my heart grew like the Grinch did, just big. That's what I love to do. I could not wait to get the opportunity to do it. Now that I've had the chance, it's just, man, it's awesome.
So, again, we'll have that show last week. Next week, we'll have our schedule release show. And then the following week, we'll have week 1, which we'll start our pick'ems up and have our games. We're
talking about the games that we're going to be doing. You mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll kind of build up to that, and so then week 1 we'll kind of go over the pick'ems and go through our picks and kind of talk about week 1, and it's going to be like here in a flash. So, but let's get started here with this week's poll show. If you didn't watch last week, I'll kind of go through our voters just so everyone knows. The 4 of us obviously are in the poll. Jeremy Diamond, Brandon Ogden from the paper that was with us last week is also voting. Papa O, Ron Owens, Kyle's dad, and one of our camera guys, and Coach Jeremy Hubbard. Hopefully he'll be on next week with us. And then Conrad Barr from KMU. So that's our poll voters for this poll. You guys ready to get started? All right. All right. We're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. Starting at number 15 is Atlanta. Atlanta getting to the top 15 at spot 15. I will say I did not have Atlanta ranked in my top 15. Actually, only one of us did, and we're going to go to him first. Our Northeast Texas guru, Jaron Peoples. Jaron, tell us about the Atlanta squad there, and why do you think they're going to be a top 15 team?
Dude, so last year they went 7-4, but that is a fast team, and they were pretty young. And they play in the tough, pretty tough district. And I'm not alone. I mean, the Texas football guys had them ranked at 11 in 3A Division I. So, we know up in that northeast corner of the state, they play some good football. But I remember seeing Atlanta a couple of years ago, and I was amazed at their speed. And I think they're just getting faster. They got a pretty good crop of athletes up there. I had them ranked number 9th in my poll. And again, I don't think I'm too far off. So we'll see.
Yeah, you're actually the lowest of the folks that actually put them in. Coach Hubbard had them at 7, and Jeremy Diamond had them at 8. So those are the 3 voters that had them in the top 15. I think Atlanta's a good team. Don't get me wrong. They are in a tough district. I think Tatum's going to be one that takes a step back this year with all the talent that they lost. So there'll be one less team kind of that Atlanta has in their way. Of course, you have Jefferson, Liberty Islo in that district. It's a pretty good district there. So, I don't have any problems with them making the poll. It's down here at the bottom. You're just like, it can be anybody. Depends on your opinions. But congrats to them for making it. We'll see. I mean, it's going to play out. Kaya, what do you think about that spot for Atlanta?
I just don't know enough about them up near the Texarkana area. Like I said last week, we just don't cover that area, so I don't know a lot about Atlanta. But they are technically one of our schools because they're in Cass County. But like Jaron said, they have speed. They'll be competitive week in and week out, and I think they have a good chance in that district. Like you were talking about with Jefferson and Liberty Islo kind of being the cream of the crop in there. I think they're a solid 3 seed in that district. So. I don't mind them being at 15th. I think the theme for this week will be there is a ton of teams that you could put in these 15 slots, especially down in the 15 to 10 range. There are a ton of teams that could fall there. So I have no issue with Atlanta being at 15. I think they're gonna have a good season this year.
Larry, what do you think?
Well, I think that's about right. I got to agree there a little bit, Kyle, that, just reading about them and just learning about them there, they have really good on paper. Looks like they're going to have a good running game too. So they're going to be a team that's going to compete. And you're right, just down in here being preseason too, we're going to have to see how they go through the first couple of games. But there's a lot of people that are up on them. So just from what I've read there too, and just kind of checking them out, I think they're going to be pretty competitive. And I think 15 is a good spot for them here in the preseason. Give them some uproars. They'll look in on this and say, hey, we're in there. Hey, let's see what we can do from there.
I like this 15 spot. Better than some other people when they put them 15. What I'm saying, that 15 was a nice conversation piece last week. But no, I'm fine with it. I think that's, again, we're all gonna have. I think when you get closer to the top, it's gonna be more agreement on some of these teams. But there's just so many, and I'm kind of glad that we opened this up. Last year we only had 10 in this poll, and having that extra, it gives some of those teams a chance to get in. And it's going to be a matter of, okay, show me something on the field. And so there's going to be a lot of shuffling at the beginning of the season. You lose, you drop out, maybe you win a couple, you bounce back in. So I think it's going to be interesting. But, yeah, I think Atlanta's got a good chance as any. They're going to be battle-tested, getting the team, playing some of those teams in their district. So I think it's going to be a good season for them. All right, so we're going to move up to the number 14 spot. And our 14th ranked team in this poll is the Beckville Bearcats, coming in at number 14. And actually, we have our first bullseye for me. I had them at 14. Also, Brandon Ogden also nailed that one at 14. Let's see, Larry, you had them the highest. You cover them quite a bit down there. You had them at number 8. Tell us about Beckville and what are you expecting for them this season?
Well, I like the Beckville Bearcats any year. You know, they have got a really good squad over there. They always bring up good talent. They have a good younger kids that come up there, and just a great program. Beckville's going to have. They did lose a few things from their squad last year, a few good pieces, but they have a good core group that's going to come back, and they're going to be very good on both sides of the ball. And I really think that they're going to be one of those teams up there that are going to be get farther into the playoffs this year. I think that they ran into the Dragons last year, and Dragons were just rolling. But I think Beckville's got a real good chance to just pick up from where they left off and keep making another good statement this year. Yeah, we're going to cover them first, too. They're going to get their first test, actually, with a revamped San Augustine Wolves team to start the season on Thursday, the 28th. We're still going to get a coach over there in Beckville to cover the game, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to. But that's where we're going to start off, and we're going to see them because we've covered them quite a bit. And they're a good team, and they're always going to put a good product on the field. And I have a good feeling that they're going to be one or two in their district this year.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to sit them in that 2 spot. There's a team that I got to see last year that's returning a lot of pieces that I think we'll see later in the poll that will probably win district. But I agree. I think they're a solid 2 for me. All right, Kyle, what do you think about the Beckville Bearcats?
I did not have Beckville ranked in my top 15, but again, that's because there are a ton of teams around here. I did have the team that I think is winning the district ranked in the top 15, though. But Beckville's a really good football team. Jordan Prince is dynamic at the running back position. He can make a ton of plays. Braxton Bullock at quarterback is also a very good leader of that team. They returned 3 out of 5 on the offensive line. So the offense will be fine, I think. It's just a matter of defensively, how are they going to look? So I'm not sure, but I think them and Wascom are the top. That we talk about tiers and districts. I think them and Wascom are in that top tier, and then it's kind of everybody else below that fighting for 3 and 4. So I think it'll come down to Wascom Beckville for the district championship. But yeah, I don't mind Beckville being 14 either. I think it's a good starting point for them.
This district was kind of like that last year. It was a bunch of just log jammed in the middle. I mean, halfway through the season, you didn't know who was going to make the playoffs. Even it was interesting, but
it came right down to the end of the district, the last games, to finally get to figure out who was doing what.
Yeah, one of those 8-team districts, you don't see those as much anymore. And so they start district play, week 4 of the season. So, or week 5, depending on if they take the bye early. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, and we'll be covering Big Sandy, so we'll have a good knowledge of this district because they'll play everyone obviously in there, and we'll see how it turns out. Jaron, what do you think about Beckville?
And so I went back and kind of redid my poll a little bit, so I wouldn't make the same mistake I did last week. And so I went and revisited. And so Beckville, I think I had them in like 3 different spots yesterday, just throughout the day as I was going back and trying to think through. They ended up being number 10, but man, they just always seem to be competing year after year. And especially for a small school, and Larry mentioned they've got a good, they do well in their younger programs. I mean, they start playing football over there, I think, golly, fresh out of the womb almost. So they have these kids that have been playing a long time. They do a good job at raising the crop there. But I think they're going to do well. I mean, obviously, the Texas football guys had Jordan Prince ranked like the preseason MVP. He's such a dynamic player. And so I think a lot's going to be riding on his back. But, yeah, I have him at number 10 in my poll.
Yeah, anytime you have a guy like that, at that level, at the 2A level, I mean, you can have 1 or 2 dudes that can carry you. Asked Timpson about that a few years ago. I mean, they had 1 or 2 dudes, and it carried them pretty far. All right, moving on up to number 13, the Grapeland Sandies at number 13 in our poll. Let's see. I had them at number 10. So did you, Larry. What do you think about Grapeland this season?
Well, I really like the Grapeland Sandies. They a couple years ago, they were really kind of putting it back together. But especially last year, they really started to put it all together last year. They started to have the community got behind them a lot more, and it just seemed like, not to say that they weren't behind them before, but a lot more they were behind them there. And it was just, the team started coming together, and they just started really finding their niche there, and they started winning some ball games. So I think that they're getting a little momentum. So I think that's really going to carry over this year, and they're going to have a much better year this year.
All right. So let's see. We had Kyle. You had them highest. You and your dad had them at 6. What do you have for Grapeland there that has them in the top 10 for you?
Dude, I have fallen in love with the Grapeland Sandy football program. I think they are. I love Coach Wood. Coach Wood down there is great. Got to see Grapeland in the state 7-on-7 tournament this summer when they knocked off Gunner in the first round of the tournament. The 3-time defending state champion Gunner Tigers. Grapeland beat them head up. Shenanigans.
You mean Gunner's good, Kyle?
In 7-on-7 and real football. They were 3-peats in both. So they were dominant, and Grapeland beat them straight up. No shenanigans, beat them straight up on the football field. Now, even talking to Coach Wood, he realizes like that's 7-on-7, but that does give confidence and translate to the football field towards regular ball. Malik Johnson is one of the fastest players in the state of Texas, in Grapeland, Texas. He is one of the fastest players. He is a lightning rod when he gets the football. They're physical on defense. If you, in the intro, a couple of those hits on the Alto Yellow Jackets, those are from Grapeland. Like there is a ton of talent in Grapeland. I don't know. Now this is probably a little recency bias. I don't know if they have enough to beat Lovelady and take the district title from Lovelady. But I have them ranked higher than Lovelady in my poll because I think that they will do it this year. But yeah, I am high on the Grapeland Sandies.
Jerry, what do you think?
So here's the deal. I saw Grapeland last year that when they defeated Overton, I did that playoff game. And so Grapeland was one of my casualties in this poll. And yesterday I was trying to get some other teams in that I thought I'd missed and really unintentionally Grapeland dropped out just because
unintentionally.
What?
Yeah, that was not intentional. I was trying to get, man, we need more spots or something.
Get your paper bag out right on the other side.
No, it's not that at all. No, it's not. I really do like Coach Wood. He coached up in Rivercrest, which is close to where I'm from, and again, got to cover them last year. And you're right, Malik Johnson. I remember last year when I was doing that game, I just blown away. That dude. I mean, every time he was so slippery too. Every time you think that Overton think they have him down, he would just grind out another 3, 4, or 5 yards. So no disrespect at all to Grapeland. I thought I had him in there. Again, I was making some last minute edits yesterday, and they were in there for sure. And then I guess I pulled them out. But I think they're going to be a really good squad. Probably that district, the top 3 spots, even with Mount Enterprise, I think too, it's going to be a kind of a dogfight for the top 3 spots in that district.
All right. Number 11, 12, we have a tie. Okay, so we have a tie at the 11th spot in the vote. So we're going to start. There's no order. They're both tied. So we're going to start with the one that's on the list first, and that's the New Diana Eagles coming in at number 11. And they've got a new coach. And Kyle, tell us about their new coach and what you're thinking about New Diana this year.
Coach Kirby Lane is the one that took over for New Diana. Kind of a weird situation, right? With Coach Pitts, how he left, the timing of when he left, and all that. But Coach Lane has come in there, and I think he's really taking command of the program and is really doing some good things over there. I don't think, I didn't have New Diana ranked in mine at all. But that's, again, it'll sound like a broken record. There are so many teams you could put in these 10 to 15 spots.
Thank you.
But
Kyle, how would you say if someone ranked New Diana number 2 in this poll?
2 overall?
Yeah.
That seems a little high. I mean, it's their poll and they can do what they want to do. But he's not on the show. To me.
He's not on the show. Conrad had them number 2 on his poll.
Really?
Okay. That's interesting. That's something. Listen, they got their quarterback back, DeJuan Johnson, who is a phenomenal athlete, a dual threat quarterback that can. I mean, we covered the game last year against Troop, and it was a 13-9 game, so it was an ugly game. but it was a defensive battle. Both defenses were playing solid, which brings me to a point about Troop is how good they were last year, kind of under the radar to hold New Diana to 13 points. But DeJuan Johnson is back at quarterback. So, I mean, the offense is going to be dynamic. It's going to look a little different with Coach Lane there, but I think he'll do fine. I think New Diana will be fine. I don't think they win the district, but I think New Diana is a quality playoff team. 2's a little high, though.
All right. Go ahead, Larry. What do you think about that, New Diana?
I don't know if I had New Diana in there either. I think I was looking at them, but I knew that they had a new coach, and I understand that they had their quarterback back there, and I was thinking that their defense was probably going to be pretty solid again too, but their district is kind of big and rough. So, I mean, it's one of those teams there, that could be in there too. It's going to be the first couple of weeks to see. But if they can get their offense, really get that running game going there with their new coach, I think that they're going to be okay. I don't know if I would put them up there too either. But, that's just one thing you got to look at, that they're probably going to be one of those teams that are going to start off a little rusty. But by the time they hit districts, I think that they're going to be ready to compete. And maybe they get themselves a couple of district wins in there.
Yeah, I think they're not returning a whole lot. They've only got 5 guys back combined on offense and defense, and so a new coach too. So I think it's going to be important for them, those pre-district games, kind of get that flow, get the new system in there in place, and see what they've got. But that district, to me, and we'll talk about it a little later, but there's some opening there for them to slip in the playoffs. I think there's honestly, top to bottom, I mean, there's some distance at the very bottom, but there's, I could see 4 or 5 teams fighting for these spots, and it could be in any order, honestly. I mean, I think you mentioned that, the Troop game a while ago, they're probably going to be picked in most people's poll to win that district, but it wouldn't shock me if they, were to lose a game in district. So I think it's going to be a little more open. Jaron, what do you think about New Diana here at this spot?
Man, they're a good squad, and I like their baseball coach, Coach Martinez, who helps with football. I mean, great team over there. When you lose a coach that late, I mean, that was it kind of shocked us all, when it came down, and I just think it's hard, and they lost a lot, quite a bit. I mean, in that district, you talked about it, but I think. You just said you think Troop probably win that district. ARP's making a big push forward, so I think New Diana does get in the playoffs. I think they're probably going to be in that 3 and 4 seed, which means they'll have to go up against a Newton or a Woodville, in the first round, which will be a tall order. We'll see. They surprised everybody last year, right? I mean, they turned heads when they kind of came on the scene. So we'll see what happens this year.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead, Kyle. Sorry, I was going to say that I didn't tell you guys, but I had them 7 in my poll. That's where I had them. So just go ahead, Kyle.
I was just going to say that I understand they have a new coach. I understand it happened late, but they still have a veteran quarterback coming back, and that is a huge piece of the puzzle. Like, I know it may be a new scheme and all that, but you have a veteran quarterback back there that can lead the offense and kind of know the intricacies of it. I think they'll be better off than if you would have taken a team. If this would have happened to a team without a quarterback coming back, I would be more concerned. But with Johnson coming back, I think they'll be okay.
Sure. All right, so tied with them at that 11th spot, the Joaquin Rams, coming off a big season under Coach Jones. They're in at tie for number 11, and there's a few of us that got to cover them. Actually, only 2 of us. It was me, Larry, and Evil Jaron's not here today.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Evil Jaron, we got to see the Rams and make a good run there in the postseason. Kyle, bullseye for you here at number 11. So we're going to start with you. The Joaquin Rams. You got Cooper Bragg returning, and some other pieces. What do you think about their chances of making a little run again?
Don't forget, you got the state champion in Max Garvin, pole vaulter. So we've got my boys got hops over there too. Listen, Joaquin was with them and Woodville kind of last year were the Cinderella stories. It seemed like in East Texas, and I I didn't get to watch Joaquin. I watched it on obviously NetSN. I didn't get to physically watch it though. But yeah, talking to Pops, because he was at a lot of those games too, just physical football, a physical brand of football by the Joaquin Rams. And that will win you a ton of football games. And you can practice all week and scheme up and do everything you want. But when somebody hits you in the mouth, play after play after play, it wears down on you. And the Joaquin Rams do exactly that. And they wore people down last year and made one heck of a run. The difference this year is they're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. Like they snuck in as a 4 seed to the playoffs and made a run, but they're not sneaking up on anybody. They're going to get everyone's best shot this year because they're expecting it. Cooper Bragg, a phenomenal athlete as well. I believe he was at the state track meet for triple jump, I believe. So yeah, I mean, Joaquin, I think is going to be really, really good again. And I had him at 11. I think it's a good starting point for him. I don't think they win the district, but I do think they are probably either a 2 or a 3 in that district.
Yeah, that's a tough district. I had them at number 9 in my polls where I had them landed. Larry, you were the highest on Joaquin. You get to cover them a little bit during the season. You joined us on a few of the broadcasts in the playoffs. What are you expecting out of the Joaquin Rams and Coach Jones?
Well, first of all, I know that what show we are here, but I'm gonna show you my magazine. Coach Jones autograph right there, baby. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
Look at that.
taking and getting all the guys' autographs on that one. I tell you what, I love the Rams and the Coach Jones. I went over and talked to him, and actually, I'm gonna put this out here right now. When we play, they're gonna play Beckville on Thursday, the 4th, I believe it is. We're going to go over there and do a coach's show at a place called Bites and Brew, and we're inviting the whole community, and we're going to blow it up over there for that one. So it's going to be pretty cool for that. But that's going to be on the Monday before that game. But anyway, the Joaquin Rams, I'm sorry, Coach Jones, I went over to talk to them. They have a lot of, they're having to replace their quarterback, but, those young men are coming back with that offensive line. It's just going to be as stout as it was. We got Oscar Rios coming back there to the tight end, and just some of those guys on defense are going to be back, and they're just getting bigger. And I tell you, this team, yeah, they ended up at number 4, but they could have been number 1 in there. And a lot of people say their districts of doom and this and that, districts of death. This is one of them. I think this is probably one of the best offensive line districts that you're going to find in all the teams around here.
So Larry,
be big on that.
Just so you know, Dave Campbell's picked that district as the toughest district in that classification. So I mean, it's not a secret anymore.
You're right, and that's true, and it is, and it could be 4 different teams coming out of a couple of the same ones. But I like what Joaquin has to do. Joaquin could be number 1, they could be number 4, but I don't think that there's really much of a difference between 1 and 4 when you come out of this district. Whatever happens.
Well, so it didn't matter to them last year.
They're going to make some noise. It's going to be good. That's for sure.
It didn't matter last year.
It didn't matter. It does not matter. Okay. I mean, they went into that Friday night number 1, come out that Friday evening at number 4. And any one of those teams could have been in any one of those positions, and it would have been just fine there. But I like the Rams. I like where I put them. I think they're going to be up there, and they're going to have one heck of a run again this year. The momentum and the things that they got going over there, and it's going to be pretty good for the Rams again this year. But, yeah, you're right. They're not going to sneak up on nobody, but y'all better be ready because they're going to be bringing it again.
So, Larry, you had Joaquin at 3, the highest. Our lowest voter in the poll for Joaquin is Jaron Peoples. Jaron,
I don't hold it against you, Jaron. I don't hold it against you. Preseason, man. It's preseason.
What do you got, Jaron?
So, again, broken record. Yeah, especially in 10-5, it's tough. Now, I was really impressed last year with their line. You talked about it, Larry. Those guys, they were huge and they were strong and they were physical.
Hey, Larry, did you have pancake breakfast with them last year?
Not with the Rams, but
okay.
Try to get them this year.
You may not be able to afford a pancake breakfast with them.
Dude, there's
those guys are big.
I remember that tight end Rios. Dude, that dude's a baller. He's a playmaker. Yeah. I had him at 14. I'm sorry, but it's no slide on them. It's just a really, traffic jammed area.
I know you'll have them in there as we get through the season, Jerry. Yeah. I know you'll have them.
But again, and we'll talk about this team probably. I had them right neck and neck with Shelbyville and they're just flip flopping, right? Now, obviously, Shelbyville lost a lot, but you ask me tomorrow, I'll probably put Joaquin above Shelbyville. But it's so.
It's okay.
We got these polls are getting Jaron stressed.
Jaron's like, it's okay.
It's gonna be all kinds of like this before it's over.
It's okay, Jaron. It's fine. You got your opinion. Larry's got his.
It's okay.
Me and Kyle are kind of floating in the middle there. You know, that's what makes us fun. It makes it fun. All right. So we got our tie for 11th. Now we're moving up to the top 10. Top 10 of the polls here. All right. So coming in at number 10, a team that we talked about a little bit ago with another Cinderella run, Woodville coming in at number 10 in the poll. All right. So let me look and see what we had here. There's two of us that actually voted them in this poll. Me and KO were the only ones that actually voted for Woodville. Now, Kyle, you were not the highest on Woodville. You had someone that's related to you that was higher than you.
Oh, yeah.
So I think maybe Papo had recency bias. He got to see them a lot in the playoffs. He put them at number 1 in his poll. Number 1 for Woodville.
Yeah. I mean, I had them at 3, so it's not like I was way behind them. I am super high on Woodville. I know that they have a new coach, Heath Clausen. I got to talk to him a couple weeks ago. Great guy. I'm excited for what he's going to do there. We talked about this with New Diana. Woodville has their quarterback coming back, Luke Babin, who was an absolute stud last year. He is coming back. He's coming back. You got big Dustin Barlow coming back in the backfield.
That's what I was going to say. Barlow, he's a big bowling ball. You can't tackle that guy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yes, Woodville lost quite a bit, and then they have a new head coach. They made a run last year, though. I actually just posted a video on Sunday about Woodville and their playoff game against DCAB that I was at, the regional semifinal there. But or regional final, whichever one. But either way, it was a phenomenal year for Woodville last year. I don't know. I'm just going to trust on what I saw last year. Again, you have Babin back and Babin and Barlow, the B&B in the backfield. There it is. When you have Babin and Barlow coming out there, I mean, it's hard to go against that. Gage Tolar on the outside, he can kick, so he's their kicker and a wide receiver. I'm high on the Woodville Eagles, man. I think they're going to have another good year. The district is not overly tough. You got Newton in there. You got Anderson, Shiro, and New Waverly are the 4 teams that they picked to make the playoffs. But, I mean, it's not an overly tough district. I think they get in pretty easily. I think early on, similar with New Diana, they're going to fill some things out and get used to some things. But, again, you got your quarterback back, and that's a huge piece of it. So, Woodville being at 10 doesn't bother me, but I did have them a lot higher.
Yeah, I have them at 13. I think honestly, I thought the new coach, they did lose quite a bit. So I wanted to still have them in there because I think they're still going to be one of those teams to watch for. But they have a lot of ceiling. They can make their way up this poll pretty quickly. I do think their district is going to be not easy, but it's going to be a little easier than some, minus Newton. I think they'll obviously battle it out for that district. But man, I wouldn't be surprised to see Woodville playing later on when you can run the ball like that. And they've got dudes on defense. That's what they did. I think them and Joaquin were very similar. They pound you out on the ground, and they played good defense. And so that does translate, especially when you get to the playoffs. If you can run the ball and control the clock and don't let the other team. I think that's what did it for Joaquin against Shelbyville. They basically kept Barnes on the sideline, and when he was out there, they were basically in his face the entire time. Like, he had nowhere to go. And so when you have defense and you have a running game, it definitely translates. And so I think that's a good spot for Woodville. What do you think, Jaron? What do you think about Woodville this year? I know you got to see some of our broadcasts for Woodville last year.
Yeah, I mean, I did the ARP Woodville playoff game. I didn't have them in, but just because they're so far south, I kind of forget about them a little bit. And there's another team on the north side that I did have ranked that's a little closer in DCAB. I think Woodville, I mean, they're right there in that mix. Again, they're just a little far south, so I don't necessarily think about them a lot. They were really impressive. Luke Babin, he's got like 5 D1 offers or something like that, 61 offers already. He's class of 27. And so he was stud. That Dustin Barlow, like you said, Brett. I mean, this dude's just – I remember one play in particular. Dude, like, drugged 6 guys with him. I mean, he just unbelievable. I mean, he's just a bowling ball. Jerome, I think Vincent did that game with me. It was like Jerome Bettis bus, like, like just kind of what he reminded us of. But I think they're an incredible football team. Even with the coaching change, they'll be just fine. Like you said, they kind of Cinderella, last year, but caught a lot of attention, kind of like Joaquin did. They're just so far south. I didn't have them in my poll, but I think they're a great squad.
Larry?
Yeah, I'm kind of that way too. Woodville, just a team that I'm kind of reading about, just kind of learning now they are down there a little bit south, and the new coach, but they got a running game, and usually if you got a good running game, that can win you some ball games. So I think they'll be all right. I just didn't know enough about them right now just to put them in there, but hearing you guys and reading about them, though, I think they're going to be a solid squad this year. They keep that running game together, that'll help you win some ball games.
All right. Let's go up to number 9. It's going to be the Grand Saline Indians coming in at number 9. Let's see. I had them at 12. Jaron, you and I were the same there with Grand Saline. Tell me a little bit about what you think of Grand Saline this coming season.
I think I could have put them 10-9. I think they're going to have a really good squad. Coach Drennan is doing a great job with them. They're returning a lot. I mean, really an awesome season last year. Again, just and I moved them around a little bit yesterday. But I think they're going to just have a really good season. They were 11-1. You can't get much better than that, right? And as far as the regular season goes, that quarterback, I forgot the quarterback's name, but they're returning him. He's going to be a big part. I think they got a tight end they're returning
Jet
too.
Taylor.
That's right, Jet Taylor. So they're going to be able to score some points. I think they're going to have a really good year. I have them at 12. Could have been 11. Could have been 10. I mean, again, anywhere in that area, I think they're going to, it's justified.
All right, KO, tell us about some Grand Saline Indian football. I know that's one of your sweet spots up there where you covered in the radio. So give us a little bit of background on Grand Saline.
I love Coach Joe Drennan. He is a phenomenal guy, and he's a phenomenal coach too. But I'm high on Grand Saline. Again, when you bring your quarterback back, it is a huge deal. And to have a quarterback like Jet Taylor that accounted for 45 touchdowns last season, and that was on the offensive side. He also picked off the ball 7 times on defense too. So dude is a freaking stud. Now, they lost kind of their big bell cow running back in Colt Boyd. They lost him to graduation. So going to have to replace that. But, yeah, you got Colton Prox on the outside too, which also in the Beast from the East intro, he's the Grand Saline Indian that does the front flip into the end zone in that one. So he's a phenomenal athlete.
I think has Taylor been the starter for he's been the starter for several years, right? Because
for a couple years, yeah.
Yeah, so I think on some highlight clips that we had, we went to Grand Saline and covered them against ARP a few years ago. He had a pick 6 at the end of the first half. He intercepted the pass and took it all the way in to end the half.
I remember when I was still at the radio station, we were covering a Grand Saline game, and I was talking to Coach Drennan. He told me, he said, we have a quarterback in our 8th grade that is good. He's going to be really good. And he was talking about Jet at that time. And to see him grow up and develop into what he is now, it is phenomenal. I think Grand Saline's going to win the district pretty handily. The issue with Grand Saline last year was on the defensive side of the ball sometimes. When you look at that Edgewood game that we were at, they won 75-40. So putting up points was not an issue. It was stopping people at sometimes. But they also pitched a couple of shutouts in there too. So it wasn't like they just had a bad defense. They just couldn't get it consistently together. And then they got knocked out by Woodville in the playoffs, which is nothing to shake your head about. But I think Grand Saline's going to be super talented this year, and I'm excited to see what they can do.
And they're returning 7 guys on that defense too, right? So
which should help.
They'll be another year better, another year stronger. So,
Larry?
I like Grand Saline too. I think they're just going to pick up from where they left off, and I probably would have them in the poll later on after they get a couple of games in there. I probably just maybe pop one of them out to put some in there I might have known a little bit better just to see how it goes. But I believe Grand Saline's going to have themselves another. I don't see any reason why they can't pick right up where they left off. I know they lost a little bit, but they got a great program. It's going to pick right up, and I believe I with Kyle there. I think they should be able to win that district.
All right, moving up, number 8. Now, I'm looking at these, the way this poll is, and I get to number 8, then I start seeing, okay, these guys we may all start having these in our polls because it's getting to a point now where, and they're going to be kind of spread out, I think, depending on your opinions and all that. But I think these next 8 are going to be like ones that we're looking at to say, okay, these guys are looking to make deep runs. Not that the other ones below aren't, but it's getting serious now. So coming in at number 8, the Garrison Bulldogs coming in at number 8. Bullseye for me as well, Jaron. That's my bullseye number 2 for the day. Good job, Jaron. Way to go. Number 8. Now, this is your area down there, Larry. So we're going to throw it to you first. Tell us a little bit about what you're expecting out of the Garrison Bulldogs this season.
Coach Alvarez coming back, and the Garrison Bulldogs, they just seem to refuel. It's not like a reloader. They just refuel with what they got down there. They're going to bring back their running game is going to be good. Their offensive line, just like any of these other teams in this district, is going to be solid once again. They have Yarboroughs out there, and they're just going to bring right back to it and pick right up where they left off, and just hope that they can finally get that one little piece where they can win that playoff round game to get them into that next round and keep piling on. But there's no doubt that any time that the Garrison Bulldogs, especially coming off the year they had, losing maybe a couple pieces, but they always put them right back in. Garrison Bulldogs going to be set right back up to make another deep run. And anybody that wants to play them better make sure they got their hat on straight. And you better bring your A game because the Garrison Bulldogs will bring it to you, and they will bring it in every single play to the end of that final bell. I'll guarantee you that right there. Watch out, Bulldogs.
So Larry,
they can win that district too.
So what you're saying is that Yarbrough is still there? He's got to be running out of eligibility by now. I feel like he's been one of those guys that we've
still got one of them there, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it Avery?
Avery's still there.
They had 2 of them. It was a 2-headed monster in the backfield.
Avery and Antonio.
Yeah. So I called their game, I think 2 years ago, a playoff game with Garrison, and he was playing then. I'm like, man, this guy's got unlimited eligibility. I feel like he's been playing forever. But
they were real young. They were pretty young last year too, right? So I know they kind of turned some heads a little bit, but yeah, I think Larry's right. There's, especially you get down that east part, the further south and east you go, they just play tough football. Just corn-fed down at the line, just tough football.
All right, KO.
Yeah, I had Garrison at 9, or wait, we're at 9, right?
Yeah.
I had Garrison at 9.
Yeah,
we're at 8. Sorry.
Yeah, we're at 8.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
You're close.
Anyway, so I was
right on it.
I was right there, but I love Coach Alvarez too. I think he's running a fantastic program down there in Garrison. I was at the Garrison Timpson game last year, the Battle of the Atoyac, and Garrison won that game for the first time in a few years. And the emotion in that game and the energy on the sidelines. Remember, they beat Wascom in week 1 by 1 point. That same Wascom team that we're very high on, and then only lost to Wascom in the area round by 4 points. So this Garrison team is right there, and I think they're a dang good football team. And to just echo the fact that all y'all said, they are physical. They play a physical brand of football, and that, like you said, Jaron, that's the type of bEast Texas football that they play down there. It's just hard-nosed, tough football. I feel like the higher east you go in East, or the higher north you go in East Texas, the more kind of flashy and pass happy you get. You go down south, man, they will just hit you in the mouth and not care about it. Now, I think that's an awesome brand of football to watch. But, yeah, I love Garrison. I love Coach Alvarez. I think they're going to have another phenomenal year. They'll be in the discussion for a district title for sure.
Well, and I did the playoff game with Garrison and Wascom last year. And, again, the kind of the rematch from week 1. And I tell you, when because Wascom had been kind of down, and then when when that was such a tight game, it kind of caught some attention. Then look off, we saw that Wascom had a good season. Now we're high on Wascom right after the year that they had. But that's physical football, and it's amazing at these small schools because they don't have like a huge rosters. But golly, man, they play a lot of football, and I think because a lot of it's there, they start, a lot of times they'll start in their freshman, sophomore year and just play a lot of snaps, a lot of hard snaps. And so I think they're going to have a really good season. And we talked about that district. We'll talk about them again. It's just a really tough district.
So we had the rankings here. They were as high as 4 all the way down to 13, kind of Garrison there. Larry, you had them the highest.
Sorry, man, I missed y'all on the sound there. I don't know what happened.
That's okay. That's okay.
Where did I have them at?
You had them number 4.
4? Yeah, I can believe that because I really do think that they're one of those teams that can just get that one little play there, and like Darren's saying, it is physical football. It's my brand of football. I'm an old offensive lineman. Let's smash mouth it. Let's play ball. That's what I love about it.
All right, next up on the list, we have at number 7, a team that kind of had a weird season last year. We looked at their preseason and we were like, what is going on in Dangerfield, Texas? But Dangerfield coming in at number 7. Let's see. I had them. Oh, I didn't have them in the poll. And I think I remember why I didn't have them in the poll, because of the way they started last year. I want to see Dangerfield. I want to see what they have first, because last year I had them high and they came out.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you left them out. That's so crazy.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
I mean, that is kind of crazy that you left out a regional finalist.
They did.
How many games have they been playing?
Last year they had a rough start. I want to see what they come out with. They're a team that's right there for me that I could have in the poll, but I need to see them come out. Okay, I need to see them come out and play. So that's my thing. I don't think that there's anything wrong with having them at number 7. I think that's a fine spot. I need to see them, because I think the issue is not that they don't have the dudes. I think we've all talked about it. Dangerfield always has those guys. Can they put it together? We're going to see them early in the season. So Dangerfield fans, I'm waiting to see what they do. I don't think now. Again, I don't have any problem with them being right here. I want to see them first. They're like, for me, like Tyler High in the last poll. Like, I think Tyler High could be a top 15 poll in the big, but I didn't rank them because I want to see what they do. I want to see what
that is not the same. That is not the same, Brett. Let me tell you why.
Go ahead. Tell me why.
It's not about how you start. It's all about how you finish. So the Tigers early on, sure, they didn't start very well, but we talked about it. They had a tremendously tough non-district schedule, and they were young and they were learning. They were still learning new things. So, but once they caught fire, they took off and started rolling. And the teams to remember play in December. Who played in December last year? The Dangerfield Tigers played in December last year. I don't take much stock, because I was the same as you. Like, we can go back and look at clips of these shows from last year. I was high on Dangerfield last year, and I was disappointed in them after they lost consecutive games in the preseason. But
I don't either. Hey, here's my thing, Jared. I'm gonna stand behind what I say. If somebody wants to come and say why, I'm not scared of anybody. They come on. Like
that's crazy though.
My thinking is I want to see them. If they come out and they start playing, I will move them up in my poll. I have no problem with that. But like, I want to see them play well all season long. They were kind of a roller coaster team.
I think that's why I put them in there, because they did come together at the end. And I know that they're going to come together coming on here as they get going. But I thought that they had a really good finish at the end of it there last year.
But here's the thing: burn me once, shame on me. Like, I'm not. Last year I had them high, and they disappointed me until the end. They were all year long. I was like, start off, they're going to be good, and then they made me look like I didn't know what I was talking about. So maybe they'll do that again, and they'll win state.
Will you pick them week 1 in your pick'ems?
Who are they playing week 1?
I don't know who they're playing. I just thought I'd ask.
So here's the deal. And if you remember, they kind of had a whole different offensive philosophy change those first several games. It kind of went where they went, because I saw them a few years ago, and I saw Aaron Hampton, and he's still running. Like, dude's still running. All right, dude's legit. They had when you have players like Hampton, all right, and you have to replace those guys, right? It takes a little bit. And so they kind of got off to a slow offensive start. But Coach Nelson does an awesome job. And he's been doing this long enough now. He knows what he's doing. And we saw that, right? He adjusted, saw what he had, adjusted, and they had a great season.
They're playing Gladewater week 1. So, yes, I think Brett's going to take Dangerfield week 1. If I was a betting man.
Yeah, they play, I think. We don't have. We have some maybe.
I just had to remember to get my pick'ems in on week 1 so I could keep up at the top.
They have a schedule. I think
they'll travel to Center this year, so
Yeah, we'll have them.
That'll be a good test for them.
That game, that'll be interesting.
I'm doing that Dangerfield Tatum game week 2 on a Thursday, so I'll see him then.
See, and that game to me is not as like they should win that game now. Tatum is taking a step back. That's a team.
They should have won it last year too.
Yeah,
truthfully, I mean,
here's the deal. They could go. I think last year. I think they lost to Gladewater, didn't they? They lost week 1.
They lost their first. They went 0-4.
Yeah,
start.
And so that's my defense. Like, yes, they did well, but they started bad. So right now they're starting low. If they show me something in the first few weeks, I'll move them up.
But here's the thing, Brett. You like New Diana, right? Dangerfield knocked New Diana out of the playoffs. You like Newton. Dangerfield knocked Newton out of the playoffs.
I didn't. I understand that, but this is a new season. Do you get to keep some of the stuff?
Then why are you talking about what they did last year? They started slow
because that's why I'm starting them. That's why I'm starting them lower. They got a chance to grow.
Oh, they're gonna grow.
But they were hot late, so
it
make more sense to make them higher this year?
But they weren't at the start. But they weren't at the start. They didn't start well.
Okay, all right.
So it's fine. Again. I can go back and I can go with Jaron's thing. Well, there's so many teams, and I just can't put everybody in the poll and all that.
That works for 10 to 15, not when you get up to like the top,
Yeah, and you even said before we started, you said I think these top are the state. We could all see them competing for state. You didn't even have them in the top 15.
I didn't have them. I really thought I had them at somewhere in the poll. I know I didn't have them as high though, but they were a team. I'm like, I shuffled mine a little bit. I shuffled mine around quite a bit, and it bit me last year, man. I still have that bad.
You've been burned.
Yeah, just bad taste on mouth. But if they do well, I'll move them up. I have no issues with that. I mean, it's top 15. We need like a top 30 to get everybody in.
No. Everybody doesn't deserve to be in.
Then we'll need a top 50.
They had they lost their offensive coordinator before last season. I think his name was Coach Hubbard, who'd been there a long time, right?
Name familiar.
Seth Hubbard, Seth
Hubbard. He's at Brook Hill now.
Yeah, Coach Hubbard. Different Hubbard. But they brought in Coach Harley, right? Different offensive system, okay. And again, they were a little slow, but we saw who they were.
All right. Next up, we got number 6 team that I think we have them early in the season. We have the Winsboro Red Raiders coming in at number 6. Let's see. I think this is surprising. This one is a little surprising to me. Someone that covers that area a lot over the years did not have them ranked. So I want to ask you, KO, first. You did not have Winsboro in your top 15. So give us an explanation.
Well, I didn't like how they started last year, and
hey, it doesn't matter to me. You give me your explanation if that's what you think.
Honestly, though, I had Malakoff in my shout out. I had Malakoff in my top 15 and not Winsboro, and I didn't think that district deserved more than one in the top 15. So. Okay. With the amount of teams that we put in there, I took the top team that I thought was going to win that district, and I put them in. And it was probably an oversight on my part. I probably could have taken out one of the 10 to 15 teams that I put in there and put Winsboro in. Probably should have done that. I actually, when you said Winsboro was at 6, I went and looked at mine and I'm like, oh crap, I left Winsboro off there. So
we're allowed oversights. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
So, well, we've talked about
mistake on my part.
The preseason poll. That's why I think it's so tough, and it's a lot of fun that we can give each other a hard time. But like there are so many teams that we're going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot about like the Woodvilles of the world. Some of you didn't think about them being East Texas. Some of us did. Like, oh yeah, maybe they should be ranked. Or some of these other teams. Like sometimes I forget about like DeKalb. I don't think I ranked them, and they're a team probably that some of you guys ranked. It's just there's so many of these teams, and those are the ones where we'll see on the field and we'll be able to adjust. But this is just a starting point, right? It's not how you start; it's how you finish. So I think it shows that.
And they had, some off-season issues that lost a couple of coaches over there too. So that how is that going to affect things? But you still got your quarterback back there with Noli Carroll. You got Camden Capehart, who we talked about Malik Johnson being one of the fastest in Texas. Camden Capehart, they should race because I think they are very equal in speed. So, and Camden Capehart is going to Mississippi State, I believe, is a Mississippi State commit. So, yeah, I mean, Winsboro is going to be really, really good. And I think it's going to come down to Winsboro and Malakoff for the district championship. Malakoff, I don't think they're going to be higher than sixth in this poll. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But I mean, there's going to be a lot riding on that game. Malakoff lost a ton, but Winsboro brings a lot of key players back. Can they stop anybody defensively, though? Again, they got into a ton of track meets last year. Defense is going to need to step up if they want to go further.
So Winsboro they were anywhere from 2 to 7 for those that ranked them. I had them at 4 in my poll. Jaron, you had them at 5. Larry did not rank them. Tell me a little bit about Winsboro, why you got them up there at 5, Jaron.
Dude, they score a lot of points. I did their playoff game in Roy City last year. Jeremy Titsworth and I did. And, dude, there was like – I'm reading here. I'm looking at my football magazine here. They scored 70 points or more 3 times, right? And almost 50 points other couple of times or whatever. Those guys can score a lot of offense. I remember I did a playoff basketball game with Camden Capehart a few years ago. And dude's like the red flash. I think I had a hard time like tracking them with my camera. Dude's so quick. And Noli Carroll, stepped right in to into that QB spot. I just think they're a really good physical team. They get a lot of offensive accolades, but their defense is really good too. And I think Coach Finney does a great. I mean, he knows ball, and I think he does a great job with those guys. And I think they're going to have a good year. I mean, I think they'll battle it out with Malakoff, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think
they've got as good a chance to get them as they have in several years. I think this year. I think Malakoff. Obviously, they won't have Mike Jones at quarterback this year. He is out of eligibility, so it'll be interesting to see.
I thought last year was the year for Winsboro to get Malakoff. I really did. And we were at the game. It was our game of the week last year, and even being at the game, it just felt like this is Winsboro's time. This is Winsboro's time, and Malakoff found a way to pull it out again. So I mean, it could be this year, but we've thought that before too. So I'm going to use your Dangerfield philosophy for Winsboro. I need to see it. I need to see it.
I think that's fair enough. Like I think anybody in this poll, there's certain ones I think at the top, that we're gonna say, okay, we know what they've got, they should be good. But I'm definitely okay with that. I mean, I'm not gonna, they're not a team that I could be like, oh, now there's a couple of these teams that if you didn't have them in the top 15, then it would be an issue here. All right, so we got you got something for me, Kyle? Go ahead.
No, I got nothing. I just it felt like another pot shot at Jaron, so I was giggling.
No, that was actually not a Jaron. That was not. That was not a Jaron. We were on the same page there on that one. I was at 4. He was at 5.
No. I know you said there. You just said there were teams. You made the comment about it's not as egregious as some teams that should have been in the top 15 but weren't ranked. And
I did have them in.
I was saying this. I was talking about today's poll. I wasn't even referring back to last week.
Okay.
We're done.
Let's move on.
We're done with that one. All right. So we got the top 5 now, guys. We're in the top 5. Larry, you didn't get a chance to speak on Winsboro. I know you didn't have them ranked, but they're a little far from you. So you may not have thought about Winsboro since you have all those Piney Woods teams down there. You've got those teams up there.
Yeah, it's just one of those schools that I'm still learning some of the area down here, and it's a little farther down there on the south end for me. And just checking it out, probably I might have just looked at where just knowing Malakoff, I might have put them in there, just on that, just to because the years passed. But no disrespect to anybody out there, still learning it myself. But and listening to you guys and reading up on these teams that are around this area, starting to learn where our polling area is. The great teams down there, more than likely, sounds like they could be in our poll before the end of the year. That's for sure.
And that's why we do this. I mean, again, it's we've had we have our teams around here. You have some lower. Jaron's got he's from the north area. Kyle's covered. So we got a good broad coverage range. And That's why it's fun to bounce off and give each other a hard time, because it's there's so many teams. I mean, we could be here all day,
right?
Picking teams if we really wanted to. So, got to start somewhere. I think it's a pretty good start, Poll. Number 5, we have Liberty Allo coming in at number 5. Man, I think the drop from 4A to 3A has helped them. I actually had them at number 5, so third bullseye for me in this poll, so I'll take it. Let's see. Kyle, you had them the lowest of us that ranked them, number 8. Tell us a little bit about the Liberty Allo Leopards.
Don't got much to tell you. Texarkana school. I knew that they were good last year. I didn't get to see them in anything. But looking at kind of some of their scores, they got blown out by Carthage, but who doesn't these days? The couple of them that kind of concern me, though, when you look, is a close win over Henderson, which, granted, Henderson was not a bad football team last year, but with what we think of Liberty Allo, the 3-point win over Henderson is kind of interesting to me. And then a 3-point win over Bullard. You got a 10-point win over Tatum. It just seems like they played some close games when they shouldn't have. 1-point loss to Jefferson is nothing to be upset about. And then to get blanked by they beat Winsboro in the playoffs and then get blanked by Malakoff in that round. So it was just kind of, I don't know a lot about them. Truthfully, I don't know a whole lot. I just kind of go off what I hear y'all talk about them, but I know that they're in a competitive district there. I think they're the second best team in that district. So I'm excited to see what they do. I had them at 8, but them starting at 5, I have no issue with.
Jaron, you had them at 3. You had them the highest, tied with a few others. Give us a little info about Liberty Allo.
Yeah, I just think those schools up there play good football and also a good baseball school as well. Prevo, he's an Arkansas commit, a really good player. Coach Willard, came from, I think he was at Mount Vernon, right? And so does a good job. And I just think there's a good pedigree up there. I think they got a lot of athletes. Now that district, and we'll talk about the other team in just a minute. I bet we do. I hope we do. But I think they're going to have a good season. I think they're just really good.
Larry?
Yeah, I like the Leopards, just reading up on them and those Texarkana schools, they do play tough football up there too. They're coming out, they run the ball well, they pass the ball pretty well over there. They got a good little solid defense, so they're going to make some noise in their district. So I kind of like the way they play ball up there.
Yeah, I think Liberty Allo will have a good season. I'm interested to see that district's going to be very interesting. A big matchup, and you mentioned that 1-point game last year. So there'll be some revenge on their mind when they get to play the team we'll talk about here in just a minute. But yeah, I think that's a good spot for Liberty Allo. They're returning a lot, and that just again, being able to drop down to 3A has really, really helped them. Not that they didn't have the athletes, but then they're that much more athletic for a 3A team when you make that drop. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, I think that's what's really going to help them in that district there too. It's just going to make them much better.
Yeah.
Correction. I just saw where Prevo, he actually is going to Bentonville. He's transferred, so that's a big deal.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Is that an Arkansas school?
Yeah, it's an Arkansas.
Bentonville, yeah.
Home of Walmart.
Yeah.
Home of Walmart. So okay. that I just realized that again. Yeah, and he's a huge part. So we'll see. I mean,
that's something to watch. That's for sure. We're gonna have to call you Dirt Sheet Jaron. You getting those dirt sheet things, filling in for Brandon here. Okay. Let's move up. We're at number 4 now. Team I got to see last year, and this team, a game I was broadcasting, they scored 3 touchdowns before their offense stepped foot on the field. We have the Wascom Wildcats coming in at number 4. Let's see. I had them at number 6 in my poll. Kyle, bullseye for you. You had them at number 4. So way to go for you. Tell us a little bit about Wascom, KO.
Yeah, I was at that game last year too, that Wascom Big Sandy game. It was wild to watch.
You knew exactly what I was talking about then. I mean,
yes, as soon as you said scored 3 touchdowns before the offense touched the field, I knew exactly. A blocked punt, a punt return, and then a pick 6, all before the offense even touched the field. Then they threw a bomb on offense too to score that way. I mean, it was phenomenal. But yeah, I talked to Coach Wade Lawson a couple weeks ago too, and just talking to him, like they're focused, and he said that that they lost a couple of those games they probably shouldn't have, like the week 1 game against Garrison and a couple others there that they probably shouldn't have lost. I don't think we saw Wascom's full potential last year. I think Wascom is going to be better this year than they were last year, and that's saying something because they had a really good squad last year. So I'm excited to see what Wascom can do. They're sitting there at 4. I think it's perfect. Obviously, I picked them there, but I think it's a great starting point for Wascom, and it's going to make that week 1 matchup. Wascom and Garrison is going to be a banger.
Kyle, I have a question. If someone ranked them 13, what would you say to that?
Well, after my Winsboro oversight, I have nothing to say about that. I would say it's just an oversight. You know,
somebody that didn't show up,
the best of us.
Somebody that was here last week that's not here this week picked them 13.
Okay, that narrows it down.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that Brandon went that low with Wascom.
Well, he'll probably say they don't cover them very much. You know, they're almost in Louisiana, so that's way over there.
I think it was interesting because there's a big variety. You have 2 to 13 with Wascom, and again, I think it just turns into there's a lot of teams to choose from. But I really think Wascom, man, just from seeing them in person last year, they just got some dudes. Like there's a couple of them just look like grown men, and so I think they're going to be a team that we're talking about later in the season. This 2A group of teams. There is going to be some battles come playoff time in that 2A. I mean, I think could be some Netison classics. Hopefully, if we're blessed to be able to cover a few of those, it's going to be really, really good games. All right, Jaron, you were close to me. You had them at 7. What do you think about the Wascom Wildcats?
Yeah, I mean, you saw them a couple times last season. I know a lot of people over there. I think, obviously, I think Coach did a good job. You know, his first year there, the last year. I just think once some of these 3A teams, all the 3A teams I have, every school I had ranked above them was a 3A team, and I just think if you went head to head with those guys, it'd maybe be a little bit different matchup. But I mean, they're the highest 2A school I have ranked, and so I think they're going to win that district.
All right, Larry, you had them the highest at 2. Tell us about Wascom.
I like Wascom. I saw them last year a couple times, and I like what they're bringing back. They're a solid squad. They can run, they can pass. They're good on all facets of the game. Their special teams were good. I mean, last year I didn't really see how much they were lost or bringing back or whatever, but Wascom looked really solid last year. They finished with a really good year, and they are just going to be bringing it right back. And I don't see any drop off in them this year. That's why I had them up there so high. I just really feel like this is going to be one of those teams that, and that game against Garrison to start off, those 2 highly ranked teams up there, it's just those are that's going to be like a measuring point, I guess, between those 2. But I really like what Wascom's doing there, and they're going to be one of those teams that's going to make a deep, deep run. I really do feel that way this year. I like everything they got over there. They're just solid squad all the way around.
You know, it's interesting that the Tyler, the other poll, and a lot of us voting that one, that Tyler Paper poll has them at 9. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, we know who didn't vote for him at 9. That works with the Tyler Paper.
Okay, so we got number 3. We got the top 3 up. Number 3. A team that's going to have to replace a quarterback that we talk about all the time. The Malakoff Tigers come in at number 3. Now, we've got a couple of ends of the spectrum here. They're picked from 1 all the way down to 10. I had them at 2. Is it high? Yeah, but, they just always are good. Malakoff, until I see that they're solid, they've been so good every year. And they're solid. Like I feel like they're a safe pick there because it's Malakoff, right? I just feel like that's a solid spot for them. Now, being at 3, I don't have who's ahead of them. I don't have any argument with them. I think those 2 teams are also deserving, and I had them both high as well. But these top 3 to me could be interchangeable just because I think they're kind of the cream of the crop for me, in my opinion, in this poll. All right, so we had Jaron. You also had them at 2. Tell us about Malakoff.
So, and we talked about it a little bit before we started recording, but I mean, they're bringing back one starter on one side of the ball, 2 on the other, maybe something like that. A lot to replace, but Coach Driscoll's done a good job in kind of building a pedigree there. And I was at that state game where they fell to the Columbus Grayson Rigdons, and I tell you, like, I think there's going to be a little chip on their shoulder, a little bit, and I think they're going to come out ready to punch somebody in the mouth. We'll see. I mean, again, there's so much unknown with them, right? With only bringing back just a couple of starters, but I'm going to trust that pedigree from the last few years, and at least to start out, we'll see what happens as the season goes.
All right, Cal. Of those that voted, you and your dad had them the lowest at 10. I'm assuming it's probably because of what Jaron just mentioned of what they lost. Give us a little bit of info on Malakoff.
Yeah, I just think they're going to take a step back this year, and by a step back, I mean they'll probably win 10 or 11 games. I think and that's the step back that I'm talking about, which is crazy. They've played 47 games in the last 3 years and have a 44-3 record in 47 games over the last 3 years. Like, that is an insane amount of games played. They also had the state's longest active win streak last year at 31 games before it got snapped in the state game. So, like, this, I put them in the poll based off pedigree. If this would have been any other team that lost this many people, including their star quarterback, and just that many people and as many games that they played, known as banged up as they were, they probably wouldn't have been in the top 15 because of how many good teams there are in this area. But strictly on pedigree alone and what they've done recently, I put them in at 10. I think 3's kind of high for them, if I'm being honest. But again, it's a preseason poll, and if they go out there and prove it on the field, then they'll prove us right. But talking to Coach Driscoll a couple weeks ago, he said, his words, it's going to be tough sledding the first few games. It may not look good early on for Malakoff, but don't panic because they're going to figure some things out and they'll get good. But yeah, I just think they're going to take a step back this year, and by step back again, 10 or 11 wins. But I think they're going to take a little step back and have to replace some people. If they can stay healthy, I think they'll be fine. They got beat up last year, and they didn't have the depth last year that they had in 2023 when they won it all. So I think if they can kind of rebuild that depth from the JV squad and stay healthier this year, they'll be fine. They'll be a very competitive football team. I just don't think it's going to be the same Malakoff team we've seen these past 3 years.
Larry?
Hey, I like Malakoff. I mean, that's all you got to say is Malakoff. Malakoff football. It's just like, it's just like a Carthage. Just like what you were talking about. Carthage is so good because they get all those extra practices and all those extra games, and that's what makes them so good. And they're a great team. And you talk about Malakoff, and you're like, man, people know, hey, that's good football. And they did lose a lot last year, but they're going to put it right back in there, and they're going to be competitive again. And will they get back to that game? They quite possibly could. They get back to that game. It's going to be it might be a little bit rough, but they can do it. It might not be this year, but in the next year or so, I see them right back to being steadily again the way they've always been.
Yeah, I'm with you though, Kyle. Like my reasoning for voting them high is based on what they've done and what they've been able to do as a program. Kind of similar to what y'all said about Carthage. I mean, yeah, Carthage has just kind of earned that. You kind of just assume they're going to be good every year, and so I'll admit I may be high on them, but we'll see how it plays out. But when they've been consistently that good over and over the whole season, then it's hard not to put them that high. So, I mean, you win 31 games in a row. That's pretty consistent. And so only losing, you said 3 in the last 3 years. That's pretty good. If they do that again.
That's insane. With the state title, don't forget that.
Yeah,
there's a state championship squeezed in the middle there too.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure on
High
schoolers to have that much pressure that you've built that. I mean, each game you're continuing to extend that streak. That's a lot of pressure. And so, unfortunately, they weren't able to kind of finish that off and cap it, but still a great season. And I like where they are. Can they stay there? We'll see. I mean, time will tell, but I think it's a fine start for them. I think, again, I could see why someone would have them lower like you have them, Kyle, and I could see why people have them higher. You have your opinion on each way, but
even though I ranked them low, I got their shirt on though.
Yeah, it's true. You have it. You have the shirt. Here's my thing. I think they're probably going to float somewhere in the middle between where you have them, Kyle, and where we have them up higher. Yeah. I think that's probably a good spot for them. But we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. We go up to the number 2 spot. And this was my number 1 team that fell to, that's a number 2. I think the reasoning is we've got some people that just don't know the dudes at this school. There's a family lineage at this school that's maybe not the best in the state, but I'd argue it could be. We have Westwood at number 2. And guys, with the Bryant brothers, now you've got 2 of them to deal with. You still have Case and Dial on the outside. Man, this Westwood team, with everything that happened with them last year, there's also going to be a chip there. With everything that happened the whole season with the coaches and everything, these guys are coming to play this year. I had them as my number 1 team, and so did you, KO. Tell us a little bit about Westwood. I know they're a team that some people may not know about, but I'm gonna have to ask my color commentator Jeremy Diamond what he's looking and reading about Westwood. He's got them at number 9. I'm like, have you seen what they've got? I've got to get him educated.
I made a bold prediction last week saying Kilgore would win the 4A D1 state championship. This is my bold prediction this week. I think, well, I don't want to say that because there's another 3A school in D1 that is pretty vicious. But maybe we see them in the state title game. But I think Westwood makes it to the state championship game this year. That is my bold prediction. The Westwood Panthers make it to Arlington. I love this team. I think they are extremely dynamic. And they lost to TCU running back last year and John Denman. And they're still may be more dynamic this year than they were last year. Kavian Bryant at the quarterback position is phenomenal.
And he's a junior now. So we got 2 years with him.
Yeah. He can hoop. He's a hooper too. But yeah, Kavian Bryant out there. You got Case and Dial, like you mentioned on the outside, that was making one-handed grabs last year. David Russell plays offense and defense, and he is on there a couple of times in our Beast from the East intro, just picking up people and slamming them into the ground. Like they play a Deep East Texas brand of football kinda. Like they are physical. Like they bring the lumber on defense and they will, but then they have that upper East Texas pedigree where they can air it out. Kavian Bryant's dynamic, Case and Dial, Chris Carter on the outside, not that Chris Carter, the other Chris Carter. He's on the outside. I mean, they have studs all over the place. I am extremely high on this Westwood team. And to your point, Brett, last year they had some controversy surrounding their program where they didn't know if they were gonna get to play the rest of the season. Like it was a big controversy and lost their coach for a few games. He's back. The team is rallying around him. They used that as a rallying cry last year. They would have made a run last year had they not ran into the Columbus Grayson Rigdons in the second round of the playoffs. So I think Westwood has a chance this year. I am extremely high on them, and I think they will make it to Arlington.
So you have Caden Bryant now on the team, Kyle. That's another weapon that they've got. He's put in some highlights in the gym over the summer, and he's going to be a dynamic player to get the ball in his hands too. So going to be interesting. Okay, Jaron, you had them, 4? So what do you think about Westwood?
I think they're really good. It's so funny when you look at Texas football's summary. It says after a tumultuous year, by the way, which they went 11-1, very tumultuous there. I mean, obviously they had a lot going on with the coaches, the situation, all that. Those Bryant brothers, I haven't got to see them in person. You've been talking about them since I met you a couple of years ago. You
might get to see them this year, Jared. Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see. Maybe. And then someone that y'all may or may not know, they got a new defensive coordinator in Jonathan Boone. He was at Elysian Fields. Then he was at White Oak last year. Now he's over at Westwood as the defensive coordinator. I like Coach Boone a whole lot. He's just a great dude. And I think he's going to bring a lot of good expertise and leadership to that school on the defensive side of the ball. And when you have the Bryant brothers, that helps too. So I have him at 4. Again, I think, pretty, those top few spots kind of hard to change. And so, but yeah.
Larry?
Well, I know I should have them ranked in there, but I just kind of want to see how they're going to come out and, put it off the first starts, just give me a hard time. But I know they're going to come out here and react after the season came from last year. And I really like this team because, like you guys said, I mean, they have, if you look at it, it is this wide open, exciting squad that can just air it out and go all kinds of ways. And then they have these big guys that are just down in the trenches that just really love to just knock you around. And that's just old school football mixed with the new tier of football. And they put it all together, and it's exciting to watch. And you get all those guys involved with it. And then, like you said, too, the little bit of a controversy and the coach getting to come back and everybody with them around them, that's just going to make them stronger. And you guys are right. I really do think that, the little bit of a bump in the road last year, you get that little bit of a thing on the team, and you come back stronger with that. And I think their district and everybody better watch out because Westwood's on the hunt. And their plan is to be in, just like I said, in Arlington. They probably already got the bus gassed up.
All right. We have our number one poll selection here. We've got Jaron, you nailed it. We have the Jefferson Bulldogs at number one. And I think I had them at 3. I think these 3 teams, I had them all the top 3, just in the different order. Kyle, you had them at 2. Okay, guys. Jaron, we'll let you go first. You had them 1. Tell us a little bit about the Jefferson Bulldogs.
So they lost some studs, but I am a massive Coach Todd Taylor fan. I love Coach Taylor. I met him a few years ago, and I'm telling you, talk to that guy for 30 seconds, and you want to go smash somebody. I mean, he can fire up a squad. I think he is one of the better coaches in our area. What he's done with that program in the few years he's been there is incredible. And this junior class they have, while they did lose some studs, they've got some studs as juniors. I think they'll be at the top of the class for the next 2 years. Now, again, that 3A D1 journey is a tough one, especially up here in the northeast part of the state. But we'll see if they because I think Columbus will probably end up back there. I'm just being for real. And so we'll see. Maybe we have a Bulldog Cardinal state title game. We'll see.
Or a Panther Bulldog state title game, Jerry. This is what we're looking for the East Texas area.
Well, I don't know how the region's set up if they'll.
Well, don't region 1 and 3 play each other, right? And then 2 and 4 in the semis.
Yeah, 1 and 2, 3 and 4.
Westwood's 3, Jefferson's 2, so they could beat the state title game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're spot on, Jaron. Coach Todd Taylor is phenomenal. I got to talk to him like last week, and he was a pleasure. He was a treat. The Bayou Bullies over there in Jefferson. I love that nickname. Yeah, they lost their backfield, their quarterback and their running back, Cam Williams, the Built Ford Tough 3A Player of the Year last year. He's over at UNLV now, but yeah, they are phenomenal. They're big, they're physical, they got speed. I am super high on the Jefferson Bulldogs, and I think that, to Jaron's point, they have a veteran junior class that played a lot of sophomores last year and won 12 games and only lost by 10 to Malakoff that reached the state title game. I think, if Jefferson beats Malakoff, I think they make that run to the state title game. We're talking about Jefferson playing in the state championship game. So I think Jefferson's going to have a really, really good year this year. I think they win that district. I think they make a run, and I am hoping for. You know what? Bold prediction: Jefferson and Westwood for the 3A D1 state championship game in 2025. Book it now.
Hey, that would make our poll look really good.
It would.
It would.
Hey, and I think too, I don't think we've seen all that these junior guys on offense have to offer because of what they had, because of what they lost. Because a lot of these guys are studs on defense. They're just really good athletes. They just didn't have a lot of offensive opportunity. And I think we're going to see these guys, Washington, Tomlinson, those guys are going to be, I'm telling you, mark it. I'm with you. I think these guys are going to go a long way, and I'm here for it. Like, I'm waving the flag. I'm a Bulldog fan.
Of course you are. Of course you're a Bulldog.
I knew it right as I said it. I knew it.
I couldn't help myself there, Jaron. I mean, you set me up with but yeah. So Larry, what do you think about Jefferson?
Well, I don't know a whole lot about Jefferson. That's one of the teams I guess I'm going to have to be looking in on, after hearing some of the things you guys are talking today. We're going to have to look in on some of these other teams a little bit more. But, it sounds like they're going to have a pretty solid squad and just see how they go. And, you're right, 3AD1, it's a tough road to hoe there. So good luck to the guys there from Jefferson if you guys think that they can be in that number one spot, see if they can hold on to it.
Well, I think, too, it just shows that just kind of talking, like we've got a lot of teams that have got chances to make some nice runs out of this area, in this 3A, 2A especially. And so I'm excited that, hopefully we'll get a chance to, if we don't get the regular season, to call some of these in the playoffs, because there's going to be some really good matchups involving East Texas teams and unfortunately knocking some of each other out.
Right.
Well, and let's not forget Coach Taylor. Dude knows how to win ball games. Let's not forget where he came from. He was a Pleasant Grove assistant for a long time when they were doing some of their runs. So dude's been on the successful side for a while, and I think he's brought some of that pedigree over to the Bulldogs.
So kind of as we've wrapped up this poll part of the course, I wanted to just go through some things that I noticed. So there were 32 schools that received some sort of vote in this 3A, 2A TAPPS poll. So I'm just going to go down and kind of give them props. So these teams actually received votes in our poll. Of course, we've gone over some of them, but not everybody, obviously. ARP, Atlanta, Beckville, Brook Hill, Corsicana, Mildred, Dangerfield, DeKalb, Edgewood, Fairfield, Frankston, Garrison, Grace Community, Grand Saline, Grapeland, Honey Grove, Jefferson, Joaquin, Liberty Islo, Lovelady,
Fairfield.
What? I'm just reading off the list. Mount Enterprise, New Diana, St. Augustine, Shelbyville, TK Gorman, Tenaha, Timpson, Troop, Wascom, Westwood, Winsboro, Woodville. 32 teams. All right, guys, now's our chance of this portion of the show where look at your poll. Who do you have in your poll that maybe didn't make our top 15 to kind of watch out for this year?
And not against Fairfield. I just don't see that as East Texas. It's like south of DFW. So,
well, it's not. Neither is Corsicana Mildred, but that's okay.
We're an all-inclusive poll, I guess. We love everyone.
I had Troop in my poll. I don't think we had Troop up there. I had Troop in my poll at 15, and I think they're going to be sneaky good this year. I mean, they are. I think they're going to be a really good team that has a really good chance of winning that district too. And I had them up there.
What about Lovelady? I had Lovelady.
I had them up there as well.
Lovelady too, yeah.
They didn't make the poll. That's one that I had at 11. I had Lovelady pretty high. They got a good pedigree.
At 12.
Yeah, so I think that's a
Mount Enterprise is one that I had in my poll that didn't get up there. When you got 20 starters coming back, including Keegan Ash, like that's a big deal. But I had them at 14.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have Grapeland in, I didn't have Lovelady in, and I didn't have Mount Enterprise in. I could have taken out Shelbyville. I had DeKalb in. I mean, they're closer to us than Woodville is. So at least to from where I'm sitting right now, I think they're a good squad. I missed out. I'll take it. I missed out not having Grapeland in, but because I think they're going to be good. I did have Shelbyville in. Larry's jumping on and off, but I had Shelbyville in. I know, obviously, losing what they lost is big, but again, they know how to breed them down there. I mean, they just know how to produce good football players. I
had them in too. I had them at 15. Shelbyville was at the very bottom of my poll, so I did have them in. So, that's what I'm saying. This is so tough, and I always enjoy this show, especially at the beginning of the season, because this one's just there's so many teams. East Texas is so deep in this 3A, 2A with teams, and so it's always interesting to see kind of everyone's opinion and having that many teams. A team that I didn't have in my poll, but I think is going to be a one to watch season is the ARP Tigers. I think there'll be a team in that district that makes some significant improvements. I think they've got quite a few 3-year starters returning. I was reading, so they've got a lot of experience coming back. Of course, Zane Bork is one of those dynamic receiver for them. He had to play quarterback last year a little bit. He got injured, so he'll be back on the team this year. There's several teams that can make. We know we didn't talk about our private schools, but we'll talk about them in the district, kind of their districts here in a minute. But Brook Hill got a lot of new guys coming in there. They lost a lot. Grace will be good as always. So that'll be a good matchup that we'll cover this year. But man, just so many good teams. And you talk about those. Timpson, a team that won state a couple of years ago, didn't make the poll. I mean, they lost a couple of studs, but they're always going to have guys down there. And
they got a couple key players coming back this year. Nickelberry's coming back, and DeCorian Thompson's coming back. So that is huge. If they would have been there last year with JJ, Timpson would have looked a lot different. So I think Timpson's going to be improved.
For the Bears last year, JJ Garner's such a great athlete. He just didn't have the greatest season, a little unhealthy there for him. But, yeah, Timpson's coming back, man, and they've got a great offensive line out there. That's one team to watch here. And I know I may sound like a little bit of a homer here with my Shelbyville Dragons, man. They got Gavin McDonald. He's going to be a great quarterback. And I tell you what, that offensive line they got over there, they've got some guys that just didn't allow any, but maybe a handful of sacks by each one of them. And, DJ Barnes was good, but, I mean, they got Ronnie Williams coming back. He's a great running back. Their defense is solid. They did lose one little thing or two there, but tell you what, that's a team, as well as St. Augustine, a new coaching staff over there. Coach Barnes has got some new life in those guys. They've got some athletes over there. And I know I talk about offensive lines, but I saw some beef in their Midnight Madness little thing they had over there. And I'll tell you what, the Wolves are going to make some noise this year. So I know that I'm talking about a little district here over here, but you said Mount Enterprise, and, I seen Beckville's going to do some damage. And I think, Tenaw's going to have a little bit of a rough start, but they're going to come on this year too. It's just, and you're right, there's so many great teams that are just going to have those years. I think this year's going to be it for a lot of them.
Well, Larry, I think you jumped off, but I think the rest of us three had Shelbyville, didn't we?
Yeah,
I did.
I had Shelbyville in my poll.
I had them in.
I know I did.
Yeah. They were at 13.
Trouble,
Okay, so let's go down through and we talked about a few of these teams with these districts. So we'll go through them and kind of see how they have them ranked here in the magazine and see where we kind of think they're going to fall. I've got the first district here is 3A Division I, District 7. They got Malakoff, Winsboro, Commerce, and Mineola making the playoffs in that district. Also includes Emory Rains, Mount Vernon, and Eustis. And the one thing that sticks out to me is, Mount Vernon, how far they've fallen. Several years they were a state contender, and they had all this stuff with the coaching changes and all that, and they've kind of fallen off. They did get a new coach. Did they get a new coach in the offseason? I believe so, right, Kyle? Yeah. So
yes, they did.
So they'll be interesting to see kind of how they do. Obviously, for me, Malakoff and Winsboro, I think there's no issues there. I think that's going to be the game for the district title. And then, Commerce, Mineola are the third and fourth spot. Do you guys see anybody else in that district maybe sneaking in or possibly do anything?
No.
I think those four. I think that's the right four teams. I'll tell you though, a story to keep an eye on this year is Mineola. With getting Coach Blackwell back, that's huge. I mean, that's a huge get for that program. Coach Blackwell obviously been away these past couple of years with his son battling cancer, who is now cancer free. So that's glory to God for that.
Awesome.
But he was still the athletic director, but wasn't the head coach these past couple of years. And Mineola made it to the playoffs last year. Lost to played Jefferson tough in that first round. Until
we did that
Jefferson
game. I don't know. I can't remember who did that game. We had that game, I believe.
Aaron was there, I think. Yeah.
Were you that one? Okay, yeah, I thought so.
But they have that he was a freshman last year, but Kipton Neighbors, their quarterback, he's a stud. And they got some talent over there in Mineola. But I think those top two teams are Malakoff and Winsboro. Then Commerce and Mineola, I think, also played last week of the year. I think that could be that third or fourth playoff spot. I just think Mount Vernon is improving, but they're just not there yet. Mount Vernon, maybe with a new coach, they can be more competitive. And then Eustis is in that district.
I like just because I know him personally. Coach Crow, who was at Elysian Fields, is the assistant head coach at Mineola this year. He before he got to Elysian Fields, he had some good success as an assistant coach and did okay with the EF Jackets. Now he's with the Mineola Jackets, but I think that's a good fit for them. So
same colors too, Jaron. He'd have to
same
change
colors. So yeah. So I think anytime you can bolster your coaching staff with experience, especially when you got Coach Blackwell, I think that's a good thing. So.
All right, so we go to 3A Division 1 District 8 here. That's a district we talked about Jefferson and Liberty Ilo earlier, also Atlanta in that district. So I think that top 3 is pretty solid. I think what's up for grabs here in this district is that 4 spot. You've got Gladewater picked in the magazine. You also have Tatum, White Oak, and Sabine. I think Tatum and Gladewater, that could be for that 4 spot for me. I like that order. Jefferson, Liberty Ilo is going to be a battle, and then Atlanta, we'll see if they can step up and be in that tier with Jefferson, Liberty Ilo, or are they right behind it? I don't know yet. We'll see, but I think that first 3 is solid, and then we'll see. You got a new coach in Gladewater, and so we'll see what they do. And then
Kinda.
Head coach.
He's been around.
Yeah.
Head coach. Tremaine Lewis is the new coach. Coach Lavier, former. I think he was in school back closer when I was in school. He has gone out of the coaching market, I think.
But Coach Lewis has been an assistant at Gladewater for 8 years, I think.
Yeah. He's been there, but still a different voice. That's the main voice. So we'll see how it goes. But I do think, Jaron, of course, you've covered this district a lot over the years. How's that sound? Do you think that Tatum Gladewater probably for that 4 spot?
Yeah, White Oak got off to a great start last year. Ludlow's coming back at quarterback. So we'll see what they do. Y'all know I love me some Tatum Eagles. They lost a ton.
They lost the house, did you say, Jaron?
They lost the house, yeah. But I think Grant Adcock, who's one of their stud baseball players, may get the chance at quarterback. They're going to run that flex bone system that they run, and Coach Kubiak's back helping with that offense as well. He went over to Orsi. Now he's back. They have a dude. I remember seeing this kid squat when he was in middle school. Demarion Tolbert. I think he's going to be a sophomore. Dude is 6'1", 295. All right. Dude is massive. So even if they don't win a lot of games, a lot of guys that try to run up the middle are going to get smashed. So that's going to at least be something to watch. But, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see what Gladewater. That district is just so top heavy. And again, that district's going to go against, in the playoffs, they'll go against that
district we just talked about. Yeah.
The district we just talked about. So, that's a tough sled.
Some juicy first round matchups. So you can see
I just talked about, I love me some Tatum, and they obviously lost a lot, but I don't know if you remember Demarion Tolbert. He's going to be a sophomore this year. I saw him do squat a ton, massively in his middle school years. But Demarion Tolbert, he's on the basketball team as well. But kid's 6'1", 295. He's about to be a sophomore. So even if they don't win a lot of games, anybody that tries to run up the middle is going to get smashed. So.
Yeah, so you talked about that. It could be a Malakoff Winsboro Atlanta game, depending on who wins second. That's just juicy right from the start. So that's going to be a important spot for that district title. Because if you're Winsboro Malakoff, you don't want to see Atlanta in round 1. You just don't. So you'd rather see that 4th place team. So these district, these games are going to be so important getting the seeding. Kyle, you got anything on this district that you'd like to mention?
Not anything that y'all haven't already said. I think they got I just don't think Tatum and White Oak are there yet, or Sabine, to get into the playoffs. I think Gladewater, Atlanta, Liberty Ilo, and Jefferson are your top 4. I think.
So if White Oak was in any other district, they're returning 8 guys on both sides. They did well pre-district last year. Do you think that they're just kind of in the victim of just being in a rough alignment, rough district?
I wasn't sold on White Oak last year. Even their start, I wasn't ever sold on them, truthfully. And then I think they were relegated to the mean, if you will. They beat Eustis, Pewitt, Quitman, and Queen City in non-district to get 4-0. And then after that, their only win was Sabine. So, I wasn't 100% sold on White Oak last year. I think, yeah, they got some people coming back. And like you said, they have Ludlow at quarterback, and I think he's a phenomenal talent. But I just don't know if they have enough in White Oak to. But to your point, yeah, maybe if they're in a different district, they're for sure a playoff team.
The problem is where are you going to put them around here? I mean, in any of these 3A, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's just tough sledding. You slide them over.
They might have I think they could be a playoff team in 7-3A. I could see them knocking off Mineola or something to get in the other district. I just think it's tough in the one that they're in.
Yeah. It's tough sledding. Okay, so we got next up we got 3A Division 1 District 9. That's the Westwood district that we were talking about. Now there's your Fairfield. They're picked 2 in that district.
Yeah, but
I mean
they're a good team. They're just not East Texas.
They're in. I guess they're. Well, you could be like Diggs. You know, he considers Longview DFW because Longview's in a DFW district. I mean, you could do that route. I guess he's not in this poll. Otherwise, I'd probably think it was him. Okay, so you got Westwood, Fairfield, Diboll, and Teague. I don't think Westwood's going to have much trouble in this district. I think they're going to be ticked off. They may beat some folks like 75-0 this year after the whole debacle last year. I think there could be some really big numbers put up. I don't think they're going to have any trouble. I don't know enough about the other teams to know in the order. I think it's Westwood and everybody else.
Yeah. Westwood is head and shoulders above everybody else in this district. They won't be. I was just looking back at last year, their district, and they won 63-14, 41-13. They had a close one with Teague, 42-36, 62-39, 63-0. So they weren't tested last year, really. I don't think they'll be tested again in district this year, which is not great because you want to, have a little adversity before you get into the playoffs. But, yeah, I think it's Westwood and everybody else. I'll tell you what I really like is Diboll being picked to finish third in there. Coach Blake Morrison down there in Diboll, he's really kind of turning that program around. They haven't been very good these past couple of years, but kind of trending in the right direction. And I believe they made the playoff. Yeah, they made the playoffs last year, went a couple rounds deep in the playoffs. So glad to see that they're kind of getting some recognition now and turning things around.
All right.
So, hey, real quick, I will say with Fairfield, I know, but they're coached by Coach John Bachtel, who's part of that Bachtel lineage. Coach Kevin Bachtel just got to Edgewood. Jason is head coach at Houston Christian. So, I know they're not East Texas school, but shout out to Coach Bachtel and the Fairfield Eagles, I think is what they are. Big East Texas coaching lineage there. So I wanted to give a shout out.
Okay. All right. That'll take us down to 3A Division 2 now. We'll start with District 9. You've got Grand Saline, Edgewood, Lone Oak, and Harmony projected to make the playoffs, with also in this district Prairie Land, Quitman, and Paris Chisholm down there. So this one's, I think, Edgewood and Grand Saline a couple of years ago, I think they were in the ARP and Troop district with ARP and Troop and some of them. I remember calling the ARP and Grand Saline game. That was a great move for them. This district is, I wouldn't call this very difficult. I think this one's a little easier. I think it is Grand Saline and then Edgewood's right there. I don't know. Harmony, Kyle, they've a few years ago, Harmony had a good run with some athletes. Do you know they have anything coming up, or is it what do you know about Harmony right now?
I don't know exactly what they had last year. I do know in years past they've had some very good sub-varsity teams. But Coach Mock is finally kind of getting his program kind of now in there after Coach Jenkins left. And so I think they're turning in the right direction. They're having, 15 starters coming back on both sides of the ball. Like, that's a lot of talent coming back. I'm looking at some of the names. I don't recognize a lot of these names. There's a lot of new people over there in Harmony. So I'm not 100% sure. I think looking at it, like you said, Grand Saline and Edgewood. Edgewood, by the way, according to Dave Campbell's, has one of the best backfields in the state of Texas with Trevor Golightly and the other guy. Trevor Golightly's the quarterback. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Jathan Johnson. There it is. Yeah. Golightly and Pippin, maybe. I don't remember.
I think it's Pippin. It's Pippin.
It's Golightly and Pippin. Two great names in the backfield. Yeah. But they hung up a bunch of points last year on Grand Saline. Like we saw 40 points on Grand Saline. Edgewood can put up some points. Coach Bachtel coming back to the program after being away for a few years, I think is going to be awesome for them. I like the way that they have it predicted. Grand Saline, Edgewood, Lone Oak, and Harmony. I could definitely see that happening. I love Quitman, man. I love Coach Shane Weber and the Quitman Bulldogs. I love them. Have a lot of love for them over there. Know a lot of people over there. They've just been struggling, but they
got some guys coming back.
They got a ton of talent coming back. So maybe if they can get an upset over a Harmony or something like that, maybe they can sneak their way into the playoffs, because it's been a long time since Quitman Bulldogs been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Darren, you got anything else to add?
No, I mean, being from the Paris area, you got 2 Paris area schools up there. Coach Millsap for Chisholm kind of got in late in the game last year as young coach, also the head baseball coach. They're just need a little bit more talent.
They got 19 guys coming back. So
yeah, they're young and they need some depth on the line too. I mean they're poised to maybe play spoiler, but I just don't see them competing in the district.
All right. District 10. This is a district that's the northeast Texas. I'm sure that we'll be talking about a lot this season. We got Dangerfield, DeKalb, Hooks, and New Boston in the playoffs there. Then, of course, it also includes Redwater, Hughes Springs, Queen City. I like the order. It'll be interesting to see kind of how I think Dangerfield obviously it wins this district. I don't know that it's as tough as some of the districts around, but I think it's going to be a solid district. New Boston is in that 4th spot. I think Hooks, DeKalb, and Dangerfield are probably your top 3, and then New Boston. We'll see Redwater in week 1. I think actually, Jaron, you'll be going up to Redwater. The Brookhill guard will see them, so you'll have some opinions on how Redwater looks this year. But
now, New Boston was 4-2 in district last year. Now they lost their coach, Jefferson defensive coordinator, Coach Kimball's now, who's coaching at New Boston. I covered New Boston a few years ago, and they got some athletes. And so, again, I don't think they're beating Dangerfield or DeKalb, but they could slide in that 3 spot.
You think they could compete with Hooks then? Okay. Mm-hmm. KO, I know that's a little up north for you. Do you have any thoughts on this one? I mean, they look pretty good as far as the order they have it.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter how Dangerfield starts. They're going to run through this district. I think DeKalb is going to be an issue for sure. I think them and DeKalb will be for the district title again. DeKalb only beat them by a couple of points last year. So even Dangerfield, as struggling as they were getting into district, they still only lost by 2 to the eventual district champ. So I like Dangerfield at number 1. I think they rise back to the top.
Yeah, and you look at it.
Where do they have Hooks in there?
Yeah, you got Hooks at 3. In that district.
I think they're a team that's on the rise too. I'm just kind of checking in on them. Just I saw that they were going to play. I think it's Timpson. So I was looking in on them, and those are teams that's going to be on the rise this year too. I think there would be one that can make a little noise. I don't think they could be a top of Dangerfield just from paper reading. But
yeah. I was just going to say too that these districts will line up, and I think it really sets up Dangerfield nicely as far as like if they take care of business. You get a Harmony or a Lone Oak or a Quitman, in that first round, kind of sets them up to make a nice little run. So we'll see. I don't see any reason why they won't, but we have a long way to go to get there.
Now, Hooks QB Birdwell, he's a stud. And so I think he'll have a good year.
A district that I'm interested in that we've covered quite frequently is a 3A Division II District 11, where I think it's more wide open than it's been in recent memory to me. Like I could see, I think to me, they've got it Troop, ARP, New Diana, and West Rusk. But those top 4, I think, are good. I think your playoff teams are those. You got Elkhart, Buffalo, and Winona also. But I could see that order just completely mixing up a little bit. I just, West Rusk, they've been down the last couple, but Coach Mata over there they're always competitive. I think that with the rivalries with ARP and Troop that are natural there. Of course, I think ARP's on their way up. New Diana's got a new coach, but they've been good. I mean, I could see this order being any of these teams 1 through 4, honestly.
I think it's Troop and then 2 through 4. I think it's Troop's district. I really do. Again, they're bringing a lot back. You said earlier, Kyle, they kind of flew under the radar a little bit. They're getting probably the most preseason love that they've gotten in several years now. I think it's Troop, and then I think you're right, Brett, 2 through 4. But I think that's Troop's district to lose.
I don't disagree with that. I think Troop is the number one team there. I'm gonna have New Diana at 2 though. I still think having your quarterback back is a huge deal, and with a new coach, maybe bringing some new life into there too, like maybe something that didn't help them that they needed last year. Maybe this coach has that and can get them over the hump. So I'm going to go Troop, New Diana, ARP, and West Rusk.
So is there a big drop off between 2 and 3 there, or between New Diana and
I don't
ARP?
think so. I think New Diana and ARP are close. I don't think it's a wide margin. No. I think West Rusk is further away from them two than they are from each other.
But I mean, y'all kind of proved my point. I think it could be this could be shuffled. I mean, there's lots of ways. I even see Troop could lose a game. I think
if Troop slips up, yeah, absolutely. This district is turned on its head.
I don't think Troop is. I think they're probably I would pick them first, but I don't think there's that big a margin between Troop and ARP and New Diana. I agree. West Rusk is probably 4, but I could see West Rusk in a rivalry game with Troop. I could see them knocking Troop off. I mean, I could see that because those rivalry games just throw everything else out the window, right? It's one of those kind of games where
ARP and Troop, when they play, that could be. I mean, that could have a lot to say with how this district ends up. So there's some big matchups in this. Now, you got your Winona Buffaloes and Elkharts. I do want to say though, I got to talk to Winona a couple of weeks ago at the Christus Orthopedics Fall Sports Media Day, and it's different in Winona. It's different. They were saying that they were focused more on the discipline and stuff like that, which we know Winona has athletes year in and year out. It's usually the discipline that gets them. So for them to be focused on being more disciplined in the offseason, I think will bode well for the Wildcats. I don't think they get in the playoffs, but I think they're going to do a lot better. I don't think they finish last.
Well, then we'll see them early, I believe. On their schedule. So we'll see what Winona's got starting the season there. All right. We got District 12. This is the Newton Woodville district, and I think that's kind of how I would say this district is. You got Newton and Woodville playing, and then you've got Anderson, Shiro, and New Waverly picked also to make the playoffs, with Kuntz, Trinity, and Warren the next 3. I don't know enough about this district as a whole. I do know that that's Newton and Woodville is probably how I'd order it, but obviously wouldn't be surprised to see Woodville as well as they did last year go toe-to-toe with Newton. But I think that's a solid order. Week two, Newton travels up to Jefferson. That may be a fun game. Ooh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I'll say about this district is I'll flip Woodville and Newton just because I know more about Woodville than I do Newton. So I'd flip Woodville and Newton, and then keep an eye on Trinity. And the only reason I say keep an eye on Trinity is because their 7-on-7 team made it to state this summer. Now I think they won 1 game in pool play and then got knocked out in the first round. But that shows that they have some skill players on the outside and a quarterback that can get the job done. Now, whether they can, in the trenches, whether they got that, I don't know that for sure. But Trinity is a team that I think is on the outside looking in prediction-wise preseason that could sneak their way in towards the end of the year.
Okay. All right, let's move down. 2A Division 1, District 8. We've got it's got going Corsicana, Mildred, then Frankston, Kearns, Cayuga, with our Carlisle Indians sitting there in 5th. And guys, what I saw from Carlisle last year, they had a lot of young guys. We got to cover them several games last year. Coach Baker coming back. Got to talk to him. He's excited. He's ready to be back at Carlisle. And I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say Carlisle makes the playoffs this year, guys. I think they're in the playoffs. I don't know what order, but I think they're gonna surprise some folks.
Coach Who's Baker,
out? Well, I mean,
that's the only thing.
It's got Cayuga, you got Kearns, Frankston, and Mildred. I mean, I think they could beat Kearns or Cayuga. I mean, last year I think
Frankston's going to take that one, but if they can, like you said, there were some young guys because we did see them a couple times last year. If they put together, they might hit that 4th spot. There's no reason why they couldn't.
That sophomore group with Elvis Hernandez and company. Elvis is in the building, and he was impressive last year. They've got some guys coming back. I know they lost. I think that Camacho graduated. and I think a few others. But I'm interested to see how Carlisle looks. Obviously, we'll have them all season long, so we'll get some good opportunities to see them play. But I think they get that spot, man. Coach Baker, man, he knows how to win there at Carlisle. They had a really nice run a few years ago before he left, and so they played hard last year. But I think he's going to get them back into form, and I think they make the playoffs.
I think this district, because I'm with you, I think Coach Baker, I've said all along, I don't think I'm doing their week 1 game, but I think that's going to be like fun, just the reunion of Coach Baker coming back to Carlisle after a rough couple of seasons. I think that's going to be exciting. But Pete Cayuga, I mean, they're bringing like 8 or 9 guys back on either side. Their biggest offensive weapon only played a quarter of the season last year, if that. Coach McGee, we've covered them a couple times. They're doing a good job. I think it gets, especially in that Frankston, Kearns, Cayuga, Carlisle, I think it can get pretty muddy right there. I don't know if it's quite as cut and dry.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jaron. This one, the more you look at it, this is going to be a fun district. This is going to really. I think you have. I wouldn't even count out Crossroads. I mean, Crossroads could sneak in there and win a couple of games and get into the playoffs too. Like, I wouldn't count them out completely. I think they're probably furthest from it, but you've got 5 teams clearly that are going to be battling.
What you're saying, Kyle, is there's going to be some tiebreak scenarios maybe in this.
1,000%. I think I'm good with. I think I'm good with Frankston over Mildred. I mean, because I like Coach Gould and I like what they're doing there. I'm with Jaron. Coach McGee at Cayuga. I really like him. I got to talk to him last year and before the season started. I'm a big fan of Coach McGee and what he has going over in Cayuga. But like y'all were talking about with Coach Baker, it's hard to envision Coach Baker coming back to Carlisle and them not making the playoffs. Like, it's hard for me to kind of see that. So I don't know who they knock out, but I think
bringing back 17 guys. You bring back Coach Baker and what he brings. They were successful last year. I think was it the quarterback? Who was the quarterback?
Ibarra got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt. So Camacho switched over and did a great job at quarterback, but they didn't have their starting quarterback all year. He got injured early. And
Hernandez is a stud too.
Elvis.
I mean, Hernandez is they've got some athletes.
I think
they really
if I had to make a choice on who I think is out, I think I would swap Cayuga and Carlisle. I just think maybe Carlisle may be a little better than Cayuga this year, so I could see them getting in. But again, if Cayuga upsets somebody else, then I mean, this is going to be a mess. This district's going to be a mess.
And that's what we like to see. It's going to be fun.
Yes.
That's a fun district, and we're getting to do several of those games. That's a fun district. And again, now I thought I almost died at Crossroads last year because my color commentator fell out of his chair, and that press box is small, and the whole thing like shook. And the coaches who were on top filming came down after the game and were like, "We thought we were goners," I'm like, "Yeah, sorry about that." So, anyways, but that's my memory of Crossroads.
Oh man, there was another press box that was probably a little bit worse than that. We won't throw under the bus here.
Yeah, we won't talk about that one.
Okay, so we'll move over to the District 9 in that 2A Division 1, and you got Honey Grove, Cooper, Paul Pewitt, and Alba Golden in at that 4th spot in this district. Of course, you got Rivercrest, Quinlan Bowles, and Como Picton picked out of this district. When you talk about this district, I think Honey Grove and Cooper are just staples, kind of that they're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna go a couple rounds every year. We usually run into them at some point. Last year, Joaquin knocked them out at Frisco. That was the professor's debut on the microphone there in that one. And so he was high on Honey Grove. I think Joaquin kind of knocked his team out that he was going to broadcast for. But I like this. I think Cooper and Honey Grove. Honey Grove has been right there head to head with them all, and they've got them listed as first this year. I'm fine with those two. I think they'll battle for the top. Paul Pewitt's a team that's has some tradition, and they've got them at 3. Let's see. They've got looks like 11 guys coming back, and they went 5-6 last year. So I don't know. Unless they take a step forward, this may just be a two-headed monster race here, and the other guys are just trying to fight for playoff spots.
And I'll say, and Diggsy might get on to me here, but I think, and I'm from this area, okay, so and I love me some Honey Grove, but they lost Coach Fletcher, right? And I think if that district was a little better, they may have a little more pressure on them. I don't know that they're going to be quite as good as they were, and so I just think that that's not a super strong district, and so.
Yeah, Honey Grove and Cooper are pretty much, whoever wins that game is going to be 1 or 2. But yeah, it's just kind of everybody else kind of following up in there. And I mean, I wish luck on Alba Golden. I thought they may be able to push something across this year, but I don't know. They've just been kind of building. But that may be one that kind of maybe a surprise there, but that might be it that I can see anyway.
Yeah, I think it's Honey Grove. I think it's Honey Grove and everybody else, honestly. I mean, I know Cooper's in there too, but, Honey Grove, Kyle Little coming over. I know they lost their coach, but Kyle Little coming over from Harleton, I believe, is where he was last at. Yeah, so, I mean, he's familiar with the area at least, and I think he's a good football coach. I can see Honey Grove. They got the talent. They got the best talent in the district, and it's not a strong district. I could see, I think Como-Picton and Quinlan Bowles are kind of the two teams that are kind of on the outside looking in furthest away from a playoff spot. But Rivercrest or Alba Golden, I think either one of those could get that 4 or 5 spot to get in. And I don't know, maybe 2 out of the 4 teams win a first round playoff game, though. I don't know how much they're actually going to. Well, maybe, I mean,
yeah,
we'll talk about that district they got to play next.
We're about to talk about that one. And I was going to say, this district is one of the more interesting ones. Of course, we have a team that we're covering all year, the Big Sandy squad here, and I look at this, and they've got Wascom 1, Beckville 2, Hawkins 3, Elysian Fields 4. Then, of course, you've got Union Grove, Big Sandy, Harleton, and Ore City. Now, I think Wascom and Beckville are kind of. I think Wascom's. Leaps and bounds above everyone else. And Beckville's that next category for me, like right below them. And I think it's like there's like 3 or 4 teams that could make those 3 and 4 spots. For me, you got Hawkins, Elysian Fields, Union Grove, and Big Sandy. I know Harleton, you just mentioned their coach left, so that'll be interesting to see where they fall. But I know Ore City also lost their coach. Didn't you say Coach Kubiak went back to Tatum, right?
He's back at Tatum, but they got Coach Arnold, who has a little bit of a pedigree himself. He was OC at Henderson, but before that, he was the head coach at Overton before Coach Lemance came over. And so,
I don't know. They may be a year or 2 away. They may need to take a few years to get. I mean, they're going from 0-10 here. I think for me, there's Harleton maybe, but I think Big Sandy, Union Grove, Hawkins, and Elysian Fields are just going to be battling each other, beating each other up every week for those 3rd and 4th spots. That's what I think. I think those first 2 are kind of locked in for me.
Yeah, I would definitely Wascom and Beckville are going to be the 2 to knock off in that district, and it could be, everybody's going to be fighting, like you said, for that last 3 or 4. You could probably make a prediction for any one of those to make 3 or 4.
Well, and you got 8 teams, so there's a lot of games to be played in there. I mean, it's gonna you got to come to play every week.
Hey, my biggest wild card in that district, and I don't know if you agree with me, KO, but Elysian Fields. They brought Coach Maine saw something to come from Azle to Elysian Fields, right? And then they've got Nunu Kennedy, who is a stud athlete. I don't care what, if it's got a ball, Nunu Kennedy's going to play it and he's going to do good at it. All right. It's Brandon Kennedy, but they call him Nunu. So, I don't know. We haven't seen Coach, Maine's coach, but longtime assistant coach over at Azle. A good program in its own right. When they made that hire, I was like, that just came out of nowhere to me. And I don't know. I mean, again, that's a tough district. I think you guys are right. Wascom and Beckville have 1 and 2, but I think EF may surprise some folks this year.
You're right, Jaron. I was high on Elysian Fields last year until they went into that Beckville game and got annihilated. Then that kind of made me pull back the reins a little bit. But I think that speaks to just how good Beckville is. I don't think it's an indication on Elysian Fields. I think it said more about Beckville. But Yeah, I think Wascom is the cream of the crop in this district. I think Beckville is a solid number 2. And then after that, it's a crapshoot. I mean, your guess is as good as mine after that. I could see Elysian Fields at 3. I could see Hawkins at 3. I could see Union Grove at 3. I could see Big Sandy messing around and being at 3. Like, I could see either one of these teams jumping up in there. So it's your guess is as good as mine for that 3 and 4 spot. But I think 1 and 2 are pretty safe and secure with Wascom and Beckville.
Big Sandy's pulling a lot of guys back. I mean, they bring 15 guys back starters. So they got valuable playing experience in that tough district. That there's something to be said for that.
So Jaron, you say tough district. What about this next district? This might be tough. District 11 of 2A Division 1. They've got Garrison, Joaquin, Shelbyville, Timpson, and then you got St. Augustine and Hemphill on the outside looking in now. This one again, I mentioned earlier, ranked the toughest district in 2A Division 1 by Dave Campbell's. Not going to argue with that. It's deep. Man, this district's going to be. You talked about the way that they play down in the Piney Woods area. They're going to smash mouth. It's going to be, can we get through the district, get enough wins, and not get injured before the playoffs? Because this is going to be some just smash mouth football down here. Larry, you mentioned St. Augustine, but they're picked 5th, and I don't know who they beat there. I mean, you could have a great season and be on the outside because of the teams in front of you. You have the good. You're going to be covering a lot of those games down there. So tell us kind of how you think this district's going to kind of.
Well, I really do think it's going to probably come down to just like it did last year, the last game of the year, and to determine 1 through 4. And who's it going to be? You got me. I don't, yeah, it could be because Garrison could go wrong, and then say something happens here, just like that with any team. That could happen anywhere. I love this district. It is one of the funnest ones to be around. I love the linemen here, and that's what it's going to come down to is who can keep their linemen the freshest and who's going to play the best defense. But Garrison, Joaquin, Shelbyville, and I think you said Timpson. That's a good order to have. I love the Wolves. I love Coach Barnes and the Wolves, but they're one of those teams where I'm with you guys, man. I've covered these guys for the last 3 or 4 years. I'll always have a place in my heart for the St. Augustine Wolves, and I want them to have a great season. And I think this could be one of those ones where they finally have some of that thing where they make that 4 spot, maybe even a 3rd spot. It could be their time. Hemphill Hornets. They were building last year. They had a lot of young guys. They have I believe they're going to have a new head coach down there as well. But watch out for those guys. Those guys play tough smash mouth football. They were a 3A school a couple years back, I believe. So Hemphill's building on here, and they're lashed into this district the last couple years. They're going to be tough. But I don't mind that order that they have it in right now. That could be true. But, it could be 1 through 4 could be any different way. And that 5th and 16 wouldn't surprise me to see them in 3 or 4 spot or anything in there.
Hey guys, before y'all go, this is interesting to me. So you look at the numbers in this district for enrollment, they're all really close. Like I know we're in the smaller schools, but like Garrison 226, Hemphill 221, Joaquin 226, Shelbyville 227, Timpson 225, St. Augustine 205 is kind of the outlier, but I mean you can't get any closer as far as the same guys, the same area. Like this is so evenly matched, and I know Hemphill's like, "Hey, let's get to realignment. Put us in a new district, guys, because that's just tough." And so, I mean, I think it's just really to me, it's who can endure, get through this tough district, and not get hurt and make it to the playoffs. Just get in. We talked about it earlier. Joaquin with a 4 seed. Just get in and get in as healthy as possible.
When they talk about the most important game of the year, when it comes to this district, you can talk about it. It could be the last game, whatever. But to me, this is just my opinion. The most important game of the year of this district, that first game of district, because if you lose it, you're already behind the 8 ball. And that makes it rough to come back from.
And I just want to know that I enjoyed seeing Joaquin last year, but I've got Shelbyville ranked over Joaquin in my preseason poll. I think Shelbyville might be experiencing some DJ Barnes effect where, you lose a guy of that caliber. So you're like, oh man, well, they're for sure going to stay back. take a step back, and they probably will. But and you mentioned it earlier, and you know this better than anybody, Larry. They're also returning a ton of guys back, right? And so, I mean, that his production's hard to replace, but I don't know. They may they may give Joaquin a run for their money in that number 2 spot.
I think you're right. I mean, I actually will say that too, because if the one thing I always talk about the offensive lines, and Joaquin is bringing back some of their guys from that championship caliber squad last year, but if I had to rank them, it would be no disrespect to any, but I really like what Shelbyville's bringing back. Cason Lee, Julio, Luis Gonzalez, Tucker Stovall, those guys in the front, they had a monumental thing last year, and they're going to be even bigger and better this year. And Coach Wallace has got those guys ready to go. And Ronnie Williams knows what he's got to do since DJ is gone. And they have one of the fastest kids you're ever going to see. His name is Hunter Harvey. And he's only a sophomore, I believe, maybe a junior this year. The kid can fly. And you get him loose out there, he's going to be trouble. So Shelbyville Dragons are going to be trouble. Joaquin, I can sit here and make a case for each one of these things. Garrison, Joaquin, Timpson, St. Augustine, Hempel, all the way down the line, because each and every one of them are special. They're awesome teams. They have great coaches, great communities. And it's just, I guess I got lucky moving here because I get to call some of the greatest 2A football in Texas. And it's just a blast every single year.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think the 4 teams are correct. I just couldn't tell you the order. I could see all 4 of those teams being district champs. Like, if at the end of the year Timpson's district champ, not surprised. Shelbyville, not surprised. Joaquin, right. Not surprised. Garrison, it's just so up in the air. And you're right, Larry. Like what you said, I think that first district game is the most important because if you lose that first one, all of a sudden your margin for error is so slim. Like you can't lose again, and right. You're probably going to because they're going to beat up on each other. I don't think we have an undefeated district champ. I think somebody's 4-1 or something like that to win the district. But if I had to make a prediction, I'm going to go with Garrison at 1, Joaquin at 2. I like that DeCorian Johnson and Chris Nickelberry are back for Timpson. So put Timpson at 3 and Shelbyville at 4. But I could see it anyway. Like I could see it anyway. I think all 4 of these teams can make some deep runs. Like I think they'll play each other again in the 3rd and 4th round to get out of this region. I think this is your regional champ is in this district.
Right.
Week 1 of district.
Last year we ended up with a co-champs too. Garrison and Shelbyville played. And they had, nobody was a clear defending champion last year.
Yeah, and in week 1's of district is Garrison and Shelbyville. So,
and we'll have that game.
Oh. Okay.
Let me see.
Okay. So you got 11, then you got 12, and these guys are like, man, why do we have to line up with District 11? Like, you could have honestly a 4-0 sweep for District 11. We'll look at District 12 down here. You've got Centerville, Corrigan, Camden, Hearn, and Hewitt, Leon, Groveton, and Norman G out. I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but this is going to be tough, man. It's tough to you compete all year, and then you've got to go against a state-ranked team probably no matter what you finish. I mean, all these teams are probably either at some point going to be ranked or already ranked preseason, and so it's just a tough sledding there. Centerville, they've kind of got a tradition there. They're usually around toward the end of the season, so I mean, I like that. Corrigan, Camden, also another great tradition there. So I don't know enough about the teams to really know the order, but I trust the guys in this magazine. I think Centerville is probably your district champ there.
Hey, Brett, to your point though, only one team out of 12-2A won their first round game, and it was Hearn. So outside of that, everybody that 11-2A swept them. So yeah, to your point, it's tough, but I like what Coach Ratliff's doing at Corrigan Camden. He's really getting that program kind of trending back in the right direction. They had a few down years there, but it's funny to think about. Corrigan Camden and Winona back in 2018 played a regional semi or something in Longview, and to see where those two programs are at now, wow. 7 years later is crazy. So, but yeah, I think Corrigan Camden's trending in the right direction. But like you said, it's tough when you have those 4 teams and that you have to meet in the first round. That is tough.
Right. You say Cooper was on top of that one?
No, that was
Centerville
was on top of that.
Yeah. I like that. Centerville has always been a couple squad. I've seen them a couple times last couple of years. I like Centerville there again, and I don't think that they'll be the one to beat in that district for sure.
All right, we'll move down to 2A Division 2. We start with District 11. We got in order Lovelady, Grapeland, Mount Enterprise, Overton, with Alto, Tenaha, and Cushing on the outside looking in. I mean, we talked about these teams already. Overton, how good a run they made last year, but they lost a lot of talent in Overton with Bryce Steele, Jalen Edwards, and that group.
But they're returning 15 guys, though. Saying
they are, but they're big pieces. They're in 4th spot. I like that with them. Mount Enterprise has returned a lot. We talked about them, with Keegan.
I really like Mount Enterprise this year. I think they're going to be a lot more than what people think they are this year. Watch out for Mount Enterprise. We're going to make a bigger run than what a lot of people think.
But these 4 teams, though, guys, I like these 4. This is going to be tough sledding. You got Alto. Can they do anything there? I mean, Overton, I think they're going to be good. They're going to take a little step back, at least at the beginning of the season. Can they get some momentum going early and hold off Alto? Of course, there's a Tenaha team down there in your area that you cover a little bit, Larry. They're seeded 6th or predicted 6th at this point. So we'll see. But I think those top 3 for me are pretty solid. I like Lovelady 1. Grapeland's a solid 2. But I think Mount Enterprise could compete with Grapeland for that. So I think Lovelady is kind of like, I think they're the best team, and then 2 and 3 could flip, but I like the order. And then Overton, I like them at 4, but I could see an Alto or a Tenaha slipping in depending on how Overton gets going.
Well, my thing with the Tenaha Tigers, I love Tigers. Coach Birdsong down there doing a great job getting together. They don't lose their quarterback, but I think they got a great line. They got some great skill players, so I think they'll have a better season this year. You're right. I think they can slip into that 4 spot, but they're really going to have to really get after it this year. And it's going to depend on how they start off in their non-district season to really get themselves in a mindset to go into that tough district for them, because playing Lovelady and Overton like that, and those are some solid squads. They got to have their Tenaha better be ready to go if they want to make those playoffs. So they're going to have to beat 1 or 2 of those teams to get there.
Yep. Jaron, what do you think there?
So, I mean, again, that's just a really tough district. I love me some Coach Laymance. I love Coach Laymance a lot. They lost a lot. They did with Jaden Edwards and Bryce Steele, but Rylan Holloman's an athlete in his own right. We saw Gabe Miller last year. That dude can run. Justin Weir carried the ball quite a bit last year and did well. I think where they're at's probably right. But I wouldn't be completely surprised if they play spoiler a little bit and just make it a little hard on one of these top 3 teams in Lovelady, Grapeland, or Mount Enterprise.
Well, they played in one of our Netison Classics last year with that extra point in overtime to beat Mount Enterprise. That was the game that Keith and Jason did. So, I mean, we know the district's going to be competitive. KO, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's like y'all have said, to echo what y'all said, it's tough. I mean, it's tough top to bottom. There's not a team in there that I don't think could not sneak into the playoffs. Even Cushing, I know they're down a little bit, but they come in this year and win a game or 2 in district play. All of a sudden, the Bearcats are back in the playoffs. So I do think that, like I said earlier when we were talking about the rankings, I'm going to put Grapeland at 1. I think Grapeland, this is the year they do it. I think they knock off Lovelady, and I think they win the district title. After that, I think Lovelady's a solid 2. I don't know, man. I don't know. Mount Enterprise could be 2 or 3. Overton, I could see at 2, 3, or 4. I could see Grapeland at 1 or 4. Like, I don't know. I think the 4 playoff teams are right. I don't think Alto's there yet. I don't think Tenaha's getting in. I don't think Cushing's getting in. I think it's kind of similar to the D1 version of 11-2A, that you got the 4 teams, throw them in a blender and see what happens, because I don't know where they come out at.
So some great games there to come.
And I don't know if y'all have y'all's magazine open, but look at how many starters are returning for all those teams in that district. I mean, besides Alto,
Yeah, you got Mount
Cushing's got
Enterprise,
8 and 8.
got 10, Cushing 16. You got what's that? Alto's only has 7. They have
but besides them, everybody's bringing a pretty good
13.
amount of guys back.
Yeah, you got a lot of dudes coming back. Tenahall's got 11, and then the 11 also for
the one team that I think that is always a solid that you could always count on that might be that surprise. You talk about maybe a spoiler that could pop in there too is Alto, the Yellow Jackets. I've seen them a couple times a couple years ago playing against San Augustine. And they're always a tough team out there. They can always bring a really tough squad. They play solid heads up football down there too. So Alto is one of those teams that you might want to watch out for too.
KO, you've been big on them in the past, haven't you, KO?
Well, that's what I was about to say. We were at that Alto and Grapeland game last year. It was our game of the week, and Grapeland only beat them 20-6. Like, it was a defensive battle, and Alto was really hot early in the year. I think started undefeated and was rolling early in the year, and then kind of sputtered down the stretch. But yeah, I'm with you, Larry. Like, I wouldn't count Alto out of it. I think they're the closest. I would put them over Tenaha and Cushing. I think Alto is the closest to getting into the playoffs and knocking off one of those other 4 teams to get in.
They're going to need some games to go their way.
For sure.
Being a close game, maybe it's one of those that you win when the other team makes a mistake and you capitalize type games. But yeah, I could see Alto's one of those teams, like you say Alto football and you're like, okay, they've got tradition. They're one of those East Texas schools that has had tradition in the past. They've got the talent there. Can they put it all together? So
Yellow Jackets bring the sting.
That's right.
Okay, and then we got District 12. You've got Deweyville, Pineland, West Sabine, Evadale, West Hardin, Comasnil, Sabine Pass, Holes, Dulceta. Larry, that's kind of down in your area. You covered West Sabine over the years. What do you think about that district?
Well, I like they said it had Evadale on top.
Deweyville on top. Evadale was the 3rd. West Sabine is the number 2. And then you got West Hardin at 4.
Yeah, I like that. That's kind of the way that would go. I like the way that sets up. I like the Tigers West Sabine. They're having to replace a lot down there. Coach Bragg, he's an awesome guy down there. He's got some great guys, and he's got some tradition of guys that played ball down there that are part of the coaching staff. And I like the Tigers. I think that 2 spot, they could fight for that number 1 spot. I think it could be a good close game there between those 2 for that number 1-2 seed. But the 1, 3, or 4, Sabine Pass, they're going to have to really do something this year as far as, coming back because they're really building back up. But I think those 4 are about right. And that's I would kind of go with that order there. Sounds about right.
Okay. Any thoughts on that, Kale?
I don't know, but I know Coleman Hill just got a new coach this year, kind of late in the year, but they have 18 starters coming back. Granted, they weren't the best team last year, but they have a lot coming back with a new coach. They could sneak in there. I like what Coach Bragg's doing at West Sabine. I think they had a good year last year, but again, same song and dance as the D1 version.
Mm-hmm.
This 12-2A went 0-4 in the first round last year. So it's just a tough first round matchup. And you can make it to the playoffs, but you might not go further than that first round.
Right.
Jared?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to depend on Larry and KO. I just don't know enough about those guys. I know we see some of them in the playoffs.
All right. Well, let's slide over to our TAPPS schools and take a look at those. So we've got in Division 2, District 2 is the district with Grace and Brookhill. You've got Austin Regents picked 1, Grace 2, Brookhill 3, and Brentwood Christian 4. Just being able to talk to Coach Hubbard a little bit in the offseason. Brookhill lost a lot of guys, but the nice thing that they have the advantage of is they have the boarding students. And so I know they've got a 5-star lineman that is now on board at I can't think of his name. Have you seen this magazine?
Is he from Finland?
No, he's actually from Canada. He's from Canada, and I can't think of his name.
Well,
I got a couple of guys from Canada.
What's a boarding student?
So they actually come over. It's almost like a foreign exchange student program, but they actually live on campus. They have campus housing, and they have house parents that live there with them, and So that's kind of the deal. And so I can't remember his name. I'm sure if you look him up, you can find him, but he is a 4-star offensive lineman. I think he's a junior. So their line is going to be a strength for them. They got a lot of guys coming back. I think Emili, he was a Finland guy that broke his leg last year in one of the games. So he's returning. You've got, of course, Zach Ryle, Coach Ryle's son, is going to be again heading the reins there, taking over at quarterback full time as a sophomore now. He's got a big arm. He's an athletic kid. And then you've got at tight end Blake Whitten as no, I'm sorry, not Blake Whitten. What's the tight end? I think he is tight end. He plays tight end and no, Schluter. Cole Schluter's the tight end. He's going to be a nice weapon for Ryle to go to. Again, that senior class is going to be hard to replace. You had a lot of guys with a lot of years of experience. But the nice thing is there's no transfer portal in high school, but there is the boarding school portal, as you'd call it. So they're going to get some guys in there. I think the key for Brook Hill is getting some guys in early and getting some reps. That's always the hard part because those guys come in kind of late, and so you don't get to those reps with them as early. And so I think the preseason games for them will be important. You know, Regents is always going to be the favorite in that district the way it's set up right now. But I like that they've got Grace at 2, so that's going to make for an interesting rivalry game. This year will be played in Bullard, and so it'll be a good one between those two schools. And
hey, that little running back for Grace, remember he kind of came on the scene that game last year. Braden Alexander,
freshman. He was like a mini Throne. Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah,
he'll be interesting to see. He was kind of one of those that didn't play a ton, but when he got the ball, Jaron, he was not tackled very easily.
No.
And I know some of the guys that were on the field for Brook Hill are going to want some revenge in that one just because of the way the game Brook Hill kind of controlled it, but the mistakes cost them in this one. And so it'll be played at home for them this year. And of course, we'll have that game here on NetSN. It'll be interesting once we get Coach Hubbard on, what kind of his thoughts of the season. But what do you guys think about that district there? There's some things you're looking forward to?
I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you. Go Guard, go Cougars.
Go East Texas.
Go East Texas.
Our buddies in the magazine accidentally called them the Chargers, not the Cougars.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
Yikes.
But,
the disrespect.
That is disrespectful. That is disrespectful.
But hey, those guys, tapping them and stuff, they do a great job with the magazine. I ain't taking them back.
I will say this. I got to Grace and Brook Hill showed up at the Fall Sports Media Day. Really great kids. Like they were really fun to talk to. I love Coach Russell at Grace. Coach Hubbard's probably going to get mad at me for this, but me and Coach Russell go back to the Harmony days. So I love Coach Russell. I think he's a phenomenal guy. And but yeah, I think the kids were great over there. So I'm excited to see what all they could do. So Larry figured it out how to get his video off, but he didn't know that when he gets off the video, it doesn't mute his audio.
I took care of it for him. There we go. But yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting. Both teams picked to go. Looks like probably fighting for a home playoff game. That's a TAPPS thing where you do host that first round if you're 1 or 2. So, Regents is one of those teams. It's always tough. And so they'll be a favorite to win it all, I'm sure, with Fort Worth All Saints in that division. But
I don't have anything on this division, but I do have something to ask y'all. Did y'all see where they were at the coaches convention? They asked a couple of coaches how they would feel if 4A and below adopted the same playoff strategy as 5A and 6A, where the top 2 seeds get to host the home playoff game. What do y'all think about the 4A and below top 2 seeds hosting home playoff games?
I like it.
I do too.
You
should be rewarded for winning your district.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, Kat. We just talked about those tough matchups in the first round. But if a team had to come to your place and win, you might see some teams, it might be even out the playing field a little bit more and give some of those teams an advantage that they earned. They got second in their district, but now they've got to play a 3rd seed that's a top 10 team in the state. Well, now they've got to come to your place, and at least it gives you that advantage. I like it. I'm personally for it.
The only negative I see on it is if the travel, right? The distance could be bad. Like if you have, like a Jasper Newton situation. I know they wouldn't play each other in the first round, but for example, you have a Jasper Newton situation, then Newton's going to have to travel all the way up to Jasper or vice versa for a first round game. And I think that can get a little tricky. But I mean, I think if it's within a certain distance, like UIL can pick a number. If it's within a certain distance, then you can host. But if not, you got to find a neutral site. I think that would be a good common ground.
I like that.
Yeah, you got to remember, I come from the Louisiana ranks, and they do a power ranking system, like 1 to 32, and it don't matter where they're at, what ends of the state. One plays 30. Well, now they might have some buys depending on how many teams are in that bracket. But I mean, I've seen some I've done some first round games where you're traveling 5 to 6 hours for round one, and where you might get beat. It may be a lopsided, a 40-point, 50-point game, and you traveled 6 hours to do that, right?
Yeah, that's stupid.
I get it, and Texas is a whole lot different than Louisiana, and I think I like the idea of rewarding. I just know that travel can be a big deal, especially, and we even saw in Louisiana where some teams just forfeit. They just say, "We ain't doing it. We're not going to drive that far."
They didn't want to drive that far to get beat.
Well, because you're spending resources and stuff. So those are just some things to consider. But I mean, I'm not against it.
I like Kyle's idea, and I was kind of thinking in my head that they're just a set. Okay, if it's more than 2 hour drive or something or whatever that is, then it's got to be neutral. But if you've got it where it's close enough, I think that's fair to me. You earned that you earned during the season an advantage, because there's not an advantage otherwise. I mean, unless maybe you let them get to a certain point where you get to play. Somehow there needs to be some kind of advantage for a team that gets top two.
Well, that's why I always thought that maybe, your first round playoff game, if you're a first round seed or a 1 or 2 seed, you should get that home game. You should. I mean, that to me, that's just the one thing I've never understood, where I went this whole season and I won my district, and you claimed it was the hardest district in Texas to win, and I won it. Now I got to travel 3 hours to go play my first round playoff game.
Now we see this in our TAPPS friends, though. How many times do Brick Hill and Grayson and them have to travel to Midland for their first round playoff game?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it happens. Well,
but TAPPS and UIL operate a little differently.
For sure, but the effect's the same, right?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we saw that during basketball season when that would happen with TAPPS, when Lubbock would have to travel on a Tuesday night or something to Bullard to play Brook Hill. Like that's silly.
Both teams played each other. The girls had to drive to Bullard. The Brook Hill boys went to Lubbock, so we had them playing at the same time.
They crossed each other on the interstate as they were.
Yeah. So I mean.
And to your point in basketball, KO, especially with the split like they do it, right? You've seen quite a bit of traveling. So
it's always going to be that topic, and I think it's not done. I don't think they're done discussing it. I think at some point it probably travels down. We'll see. I know some of the districts agreed, like Chapel Hill's district last year. I think they agreed. They did a home and home. They just said, okay.
Pine Tree hosted.
Right.
Bridge City.
So it was like before the season, you're like, okay, top 2 seeds in each district are going to host. We're just going to do it that way. There's a lot of travel either way. So they just said, I think the hard part is finding a stadium in the middle where it's, equal or whatever. So they just went ahead and said from the beginning.
Well, and Surratt said that when he was talking to Dave Campbell about it. He said, not to sound, cocky or arrogant, but he said it's tough trying to find venues to play in the first round. And if we could host a home playoff game, that takes a little bit off my plate where I don't have to worry about trying to find a venue for that week. But then you got to think about this also. Normally these playoff games are played at nice venues. Not everybody has a nice venue. So if you get a team that wins their district and the field can only hold, 500 people or something, and it's not the best field, do you really want a playoff game hosted there? You know what I mean? But again, that's the home field advantage. It's what you get for winning your district. It's just fairness comes in then.
I don't know how it works here, but I know in like Oklahoma, at least in Oklahoma, when it comes to playoffs, it's a Oklahoma State High School Association, OSHA, whatever it's called. They get all the gate. The only thing the team gets is what they sell off of the concession stand. So is that how the UIL does it here?
No, and that's what I was about to say. The school set a rate, right? The school set a rate, and so that's the other thing. It's like, so then and I don't know how it works in 5A, 6A, but are those? I mean, there's got to be some type of agreement on the rate being set, right? Like
I assume. Well, what I would assume, because you're right. Like if Winona and Corrigan Camden wanted to play in Longview. They have to pay a flat rate to play at that stadium. Sure.
And the stadium,
but
the
then
school said it. Yeah.
Right. But then if I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they split like the ticket sales and concessions. I think the two teams then split that. I think so.
Teams get something off of it, but not UIL doesn't get anything out of it.
I don't think UIL gets anything other than the state stuff. Like once it gets to state, yes, they get all that, I'm sure. But when it's a regular playoff game, I could be wrong, but I don't think they get a cut of it.
But those schools pay. I mean, those schools pay.
The schools pay the school that that's hosting.
Yeah,
they pay the host school.
So that's the advantage of having a nice stadium, because you make money off playoff games.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I'm kind of wondering too. Is like, okay, this, like I've learned that what you were talking about, the schools, the amount and the enormous amount of money that they pay to use these schools. Now, say they do that. Does some of that go to the UIL there? Is that a breakdown in the school that the host school gets some of it, like a fee?
I don't think UIL is involved in any of it, other than the state games, because the state games they get the tickets and all that for it. But outside of that, I'm pretty sure it's the host school and the two schools involved.
That's
good, at least.
See, the NetSN Dome sounds like a better idea all the time.
Yeah, but hey, to your point, KO, the UIL does get the
state championship game at AT&T Stadium after next year anyway. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Somebody win the lottery. Let's build this thing.
but to your point, KO, the UIL does get the video rights, right? So, and I don't know how that, so, and we know that. Well, we obviously know that, but so. And we won't go.
That was what it was at Oklahoma and Kansas too. Is it's like you had to fill out paperwork that Monday and it had to be there by Tuesday, and then you paid $500 for a football game broadcast, and you paid $250 for every baseball and basketball broadcast. So if there was a third game, I was on the phone or sending emails, trying to get permission and making sure I had the extra $250 to cover that third baseball or basketball game or whatever. That's the way they did it up there. It's kind of crazy how it's all done, but I mean, I just don't know how they can dictate how it goes, and why not give these schools the opportunity, especially the first round. Give them they've won their district, give them a little bit forward. I know, and you're playing districts that aren't relatively that far away, so why not? I mean, give that school that first round of ticket sales to help them out with their program. It might be the first time in 10 years their team has won the district, and they could use the help on their field, something like that anyway. But we'll probably never have any opinion about it. We can just sit here talking about it for hours.
Yeah, that's what's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. We got one more district to hit, the other TAPPS district, Division 3, District 2. Of course, Dallas Christian, they were, this is where the district Brook Hill was kind of in before realignment. They're always a powerhouse in that classification. Got them ranked first. You got Dallas Covenant at second, Dallas Shelton third, and Tyler All Saints picked fourth, and then Gorman right below them. So that sounds like that All Saints Gorman game could be a make the playoffs type deal there in that district. So I don't know. You got All Saints returning 16 players. They went 6-6 last year. Gorman's returning 11. They went 3-8 last year. So that'll be an interesting game for playoff purposes. I don't know enough about. I do know that Dallas Christian heads and tails above is going to be the number one team in that district, and I think it's them and everybody else for me. But man, what a group of teams, and 32 teams ranked in the first poll, guys. I mean, we've got a lot of talented teams in this area, so I'm just excited that we get to cover these, and that's why one of the reasons why it's bEast from the East. We have so many teams that are such good programs here. Just to kind of go over as we're kind of closing up here, what we got coming on. So next week, we'll be back for our schedule release show. We've got a couple of guys that will be joining us next week that weren't on here, hopefully, and but we'll have our big schedule show. We'll talk about those matchups and those things coming up. And Jaron, you got something?
Yeah, well, I just because we didn't give him any love, but we can't forget about our 6-man friends and Union Hill over in Gilmer. They're ranked right now, preseason ranked number 6. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So let's not forget about our 6-man friends.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So that'll be August 19th will be that show, and then week 1 show, August 26th. We'll start our pick'ems. We'll have our fun restart. You guys will get another chance at winning that pick'em championship. We got let's see, who was it that won last year? Scott, wasn't it Scott that won last year?
Yeah, we brought him on our show.
Yeah, came on our show at the end of the year. So it's a lot of fun. So make sure you able to get in and get your picks in.
It's only because I missed the first couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. Here we go, guys. Here we go. You sound like Jaron down there, Larry, making excuses.
No, it's true. I think somebody erased my bid picks is what happened.
Okay, come on. I don't even have
There's
that
collusion.
Power.
I demand a recap.
Administrator.
I don't even have that kind of power, guys. I can't even.
Got a bad electronic voting device going on.
I don't have that kind of power. Come on.
It's a ballot conspiracy.
It's a ballot conspiracy.
You guys have any final thoughts as we kind of wrap up, Jaron?
Oh no, I think I'm just excited to get it started. I cannot wait for our schedule preview show, our schedule release show. We have got some awesome games, the most games we've had on the network since you started it, Brett, and I cannot wait to share where all we're going to go because it is going to be a blast. So.
KO?
I'm ready for it. We only got a couple more Fridays before this thing gets kicked off, so I'm ready to get rocking and rolling.
I guess Larry exited early. He's done for the evening. But that's gonna kind of wrap us up for tonight's edition of the Beast from the East. Again, we'll be back next week here on NetSN for our schedule release show. So probably be the 3 of us and hopefully a couple of new guests on our show. We'll talk about all the games we have. We'll break down the games each week. But that's going to do it for Jaron Peebles, Mr. Red Zone OT, KO Kyle Owens, our man Larry Pierce, and our paperback Bulldog friend Perrin Jeeples. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week right here on the Beast from the East. Good night, everybody.
The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at netsn.live.